So I want to welcome you to the BizFed Institute Los Angeles Major Events Business Readiness Summit. We're excited to convene this powerhouse room of cross-sector leaders, visionaries, and change makers as we prepare a global spotlight coming over the next 3 years. As most of you know, Los Angeles is on the cusp of hosting some of the world's most significant global events of the decade. As I recall back, the last time we did something similar to this was in 1984. And since that's the year that my youngest, I'm aging myself, son was born, some in this room might not have even been born at that time, but for sure, a lot of us were, and I'm one of them. But most importantly, I just wanted to bring some context to this. This is a really important event. We're looking at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the 2027 Super Bowl, the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and these moments present unprecedented opportunities for small business. So to that, I want to say kudos to all of you proactive, strategic visionaries in this room, stakeholders, change makers, change agents, because, like everything else, the production, the execution, the experience will not work at its peak, at its maximum effectiveness if we don't plan. So, I just want to thank you all for being here, and I want you to walk out of here after having networked, talked to people, listened, looking at things through a different lens. You'll have new ideas that might change some of your ideas for the better, we hope. But most importantly, BizFed Institute, this is what we do. We provide a platform for discussion and for people to discuss and collaborate and get new ideas so that we can identify resources and actionable items that we can walk out of here with. And in doing so, clear a path if there are any obstacles. And once we clear that path and make progress, protect it with public policy. Our sister organization, the LA County Business Federation, better known as BizFed, they specialize in that, and they've been very effective over the last several years. So with that said, I just want to say that, this is going to shape our economy, infrastructure, and public safety and workforce for years to come. Today's summit, again, is a call to action, and we're here to connect the dots between private and public sectors. We call it PPP, public-private partnerships. Well, this is a platform and launch pad for that. So when it comes to small businesses, global brands, local communities, international partners, we have people here from international consuls. We're not playing. And you folks here are a symbol of how serious we are about this. So we're going to tackle the pressing questions that will define our region's future readiness, from transportation to housing to security, permitting, trade, procurement. This will be more than just a conversation. It's a catalyst. Your participation today helps ensure that Los Angeles is not ready. It's not just only ready, but resilient, inclusive, equitable as we welcome the world. So I want to say that, when you look at small business especially, small business is our platform that small business employs over 80% in the state of California of workers, right? And this is an opportunity for small business to understand what their packaging needs to look like to go after some of what I call an economic shock, but a positive one, a tsunami of revenue and opportunity that's going to hit this geography. And those that are going to benefit most are going to get prepared. So some of the folks that you're going to be listening to in these panel discussions, they're going to be able to deliver some of those messages from a county level, city level, and then something special that we as an organization offer. We're going to help businesses train and understand what it's going to take to get to that point. So with that said, I just want to welcome you all and thank you. So now, what's next up? What we do with every forum is that we put out a flash poll. And a flash poll will allow us to dive into the results conducted by the employers group. And this short poll grabs the thoughts of a snapshot of our audience that's here today as well as outside this room. And so, here today to present the results of that flash poll is the CEO of Employers Group and Everything HR, Bill Stevens. Bill has been with me for 5 years now. 5, yeah, it seems like 35 in dog years, right, Bill? And they have been awesome and dynamic in bringing forth information, objective information, as well as subjective information, and compiling it in a way that's easy to understand, grasp, and provide impact. He's, again, in his executive role as leadership, he helps his clients realize the maximum benefits of all the services available through his organization. So he leverages internal subject matter experts, external partners to identify and address complex compliance, organizational, and best employment practices faced by employers of all sizes and all industries. So with no further ado, I want to bring up Bill to deliver the message.
All right, get this. I'm going to have to do the nodding, the balloon over here to keep this thing moving, huh? I'll do my best. I'm going to have to look back a little bit. But thank you so much, Kevin, for that introduction. It's really, really appreciated. I also want to thank the planning committee. That really the input that we got as we were putting this poll together was exceptional. Really, really fascinating. So thank you for your time and all your insights that you provided. And in particular, if we move to the next slide, we can dive into it. Particular thank you to the 56 of you that did complete the flash poll. We really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your busy days to provide this insight, because hopefully this will help to spur on some of the discussions that will go on throughout the day today. And I think Kevin's use of the term call to action, I think we'll see some of that coming out of the results of the flash poll. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into this in just a moment, but overall, just the key takeaways I think that we see here, a very, very positive outlook on the benefits of our region hosting these events. That was one of the big takeaways that I saw from the poll results. Minimal. Now, there's some ups and some downs as we go through this. You say, oh, great, and then, okay. So minimal expectations that small and minority-owned businesses will see significant benefits. That's something we saw in the poll as well. Now, a strong interest in actively participating, but guidance, collaboration, clarification, and support are needed. Kind of a spoiler alert, that's part of the call to action, I think, that we're going to see here too. Not a huge shock. Traffic, parking, public transportation are significant concerns, and local businesses are strongly encouraged through the participation we had in the poll, strongly encouraged to get involved in these events. So if we go to the next slide, we'll start looking at the particular results from each of the questions. We like to start off with kind of a general, kind of a pulse type question. So we asked, what kind of an impact do you think the upcoming major global events will have on our region, on the local economy, and on local businesses? And expectations are overwhelmingly optimistic as far as these events can have, the impact that they can have on our local economy and on local businesses. And if you look at the results here, you'll see that we had about 90%, the two key things here, 90% indicating that they feel that these are going to have a positive impact, whether it's short-term or long-term. But then there's a little bit of a gauntlet being thrown here. The right planning has to be done. That's what the largest segment did point out. If the right planning is done, these can be hugely successful for us. And then the other thing I think that jumps out here is that under 10% indicated that they're either that they don't think it's going to have an impact or that it will have a negative impact. So we've got a really, really strong sense that this is a positive type of opportunity that we're looking at. If we go to the next slide, Now we start to look at some of the concerns. So we're going to look at the concerns and the possible benefits that we're seeing. And the biggest concern, not shocking for anybody that's ever been to Los Angeles, getting around. So we asked the question, what are your top concerns that come with us hosting these events? And you can see the top two here really dominated this. The increased traffic and parking challenges and the insufficient public transportation to support the surge in visitors. So it's kind of the things that we deal with every day, those of us who live here and drive here, but we expect it to be accentuated by the influx of visitors that we're going to be dealing with. Number three also I thought was very interesting because it kind of ties into number one and number two, inadequate hotel availability, which cause and effect that could cause more traffic if we got people staying further away and out on the roads a little bit more. We can certainly expect something that to contribute to the challenges there. The other one I found particularly interesting, and we're going to hear more about this in just a moment, complex procurement processes that will make it difficult for small and medium-sized businesses. We're going to see that as one of our themes too, that this is a very complicated process to go through to get involved in this. Also interested in public safety and crime. Didn't really resonate a lot throughout the poll, which I thought was kind of interesting. We didn't get a lot of comments about that. If we go to the next slide, so we just looked at the concerns. We'll look at what the benefits are that we're looking at, and we were told that we're expecting a lasting impact on our economy and our workforce. So the question that we asked was, what do you think are the most significant long-term benefits that will come with us hosting these events? And again, like we have with the concerns, the top two really dominated here, and they're interesting: sustained economic boost and job creation and workforce development. So these, of course, these are long-term focuses, long-term opportunities, and really underscores the optimism that we're seeing here. Far and away, these were the ones that had the most selections. This was done as a forced ranking, by the way, if you guys remember, anybody who took it. So we had you rank these 1 through 10 in this case. So these are the two that were number one and number two, far and away the most. And then also, the other one that I find interesting here is number three. And I think that this is a lot when we look at the planning, is the global spotlight opening the door for local businesses and entrepreneurs to connect with international opportunities. So this is something that's unique. Not every city gets to experience something like this, and we're going to have it in spades over the next few years. And that's, I think, something that is going to be really important as we go on with the program today. On the next slide, we look at, and this again, this is the one I think that surprised me the most. One of our key takeaways was about businesses wanting to get involved, and here is kind of where we drive that home. We asked the question, is your business planning to pursue business opportunities, contracts, or partnerships related to any of the events that are coming up? And look at this. Look at how many are already planning or already in the process of doing it. 56% already doing it, with another 24% hoping to do it, and only 15% that said no. So I think that's really interesting, and hopefully that's represented with some of the people that are in the room today. I think that will make this program even more beneficial if some of the people that are looking to get involved get an opportunity to hear from everybody that's here. So we know that there's a lot of businesses that are looking to get involved in these events, but how do they plan on doing this? And on the next slide, we'll see, and this actually comes to a lot of the people in this room. Again, businesses would appreciate your help. And it's a clear messaging, I think, here that businesses would like your help, because we asked the question, what type of support would your business need most? And look what it is: networking with agencies and primes, and collaboration with other local businesses through associations and business groups. So that's what those that are looking to get involved, that's what they're hoping to find to help them get involved even more. So these far and away dominate over things like access to capital, which is up there, close to a third looking for that. And then the other one that I'd like to point out here, because we'll talk about this in just a moment, is more general information that is concise and easy to understand. That's another one of our themes. So it really boils down to a need for businesses to overcome that kind of a barrier, and kind of get a better understanding and get better connected with everybody. And on the next slide, we'll kind of drive this one home again, which is what's the barrier? What's the biggest barrier for getting involved? And I think the message is clear on this one as well. Keep it simple. The complexity of the certification and procurement process, the lack of concise and comprehensible information. And you can imagine, I mean, that's pretty easy to visualize as small business owners, small business people trying to work through this mountain of documentation that you need to go through in order to get involved in this. So continuing to bounce then between the positive and the negatives. On the next slide, so that was about the barriers. Where will we see the biggest long-term benefit? And I think this is kind of a little ironic, maybe, is that a perennial problem may inspire some positive benefits, which is transportation. The question that we asked was, which sector do you think will realize the highest long-term benefit from the investment of time, resources, and money in preparing for these events? Transportation dominated. And look at hotels, also right up there. Now, this was actually a tough question because we only allowed you one choice. So it wasn't, which ones, pick two, pick three, just one. So transportation was the one that came in the most. But it's interesting that all of these, I'm sure, are top priorities for everybody. The one that stood out to me on this the most, though, was that only 6% selected small and minority-owned businesses. And that goes back to one of our key takeaways, that we're not necessarily seeing, at least based on the flash poll results, a lot of expectation in terms of the benefits for small and minority-owned businesses. And each of these, are equally important, of course. On the final slide, the last question we always ask, and it's always my favorite. I can't wait to get the final results when they come in on these polls for the open-ended questions. And it was very uniform this time. The question that we asked was, what advice would you give to a small business owner who wants to be part of these events but doesn't know where to start? And you can see, just from looking at this, the theme is clear. Get involved. Get out there, start talking to people, seek advice, look for every opportunity that you can find. This is all the responses that we got, a little bit edited just for space, but you can see they all kind of follow the same theme. I like the last one the most, of course, which is attend events like this one and network. So you guys are already way ahead of some of the others by attending the event today. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you again for those who participated in the poll.
Informative, huh? This is this part, is going to also be in our key takeaways. It's really important that we have that kind of information that you shared, Bill. It gives us an opportunity, especially for the speakers coming up, to shape their conversation and thoughts. Now, I have the pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. We had a chance to meet maybe a year and a half ago at our transportation forum at Union Station, and former city council member Paul Krekorian and president did a great job then, and he was foolish enough to come back for a second performance. So as it stands right now, Paul Krekorian serves as the Executive Director of the City of Los Angeles Office of Major Events. He was appointed by Mayor Karen Bass in 2024, and he now leads the city's strategic efforts to prepare for and harness the full potential of the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup, the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And under his leadership, the city is mobilizing across departments, industries, communities to ensure these global events drive long-term benefits for all Los Angeles residents and business owners. Prior to taking on this role, as I shared earlier, Paul he served as the LA City Council president, and he was on the city council for over a decade. He represented City Council District 2 in the San Fernando Valley, and during his tenure, he made history as the first Armenian American elected to the city council and rose to become council president. I think that deserves a round of applause. Paul was a leading voice on fiscal responsibility, something near and dear to my heart, Paul. Sustainable growth and economic equity. He championed initiatives to advance infrastructure modernization, climate resilience, and small business support. Today, he brings that deep policy experience, collaborative leadership style, and future-focused vision to his work guiding LA through the unprecedented era of global attention and opportunity at a time when the world is watching, right, with the most recent events. So Paul is shaping how LA not only meets the moment and builds a lasting legacy of inclusion, innovation, and resilience, but he's one of those people that actually responds. When I reached out to Paul both the first time and second time, he, without hesitation, stepped up and said, yeah, Kevin, I'll do this. I'll be there. You don't find that much anymore. I want to make sure that you listen closely to what he has to say, because we try to bring the people to the board or to the table that actually have the answers, have the vision, and will communicate the value that you came to get. So with no further ado, Paul Krekorian, come on out.
Thank you very much, Kevin. What a generous introduction. That's very kind. It's great to be with you all again. It has been a little bit since I spoke to the BizFed Institute, and this is the first time in my new role. So it's great to be back with you and to reintroduce myself and this new role. As Kevin alluded, Mayor Bass, as I was finishing my term on the City Council after 15 years, Mayor Bass saw that there was a need to have somebody take responsibility for having singular focus on these major events that we have coming up. She has a city to run. She has a lot of things, and if you've been reading the news lately, pretty much every week, every day, there's something new, right? There's a new crisis to deal with. That's the nature of being mayor of the second largest city in America. So she saw a need to have somebody focus specifically on preparation of the city for the major events that we have coming up, and working across jurisdictional lines with stakeholder groups to make sure that the city and the region really was fully prepared. And here's why. Next slide. So we have a lot coming up. Right now, we have the FIFA Cup, Club World Cup that's going on. We have the FIFA Men's World Cup tournament next year. In 2027, we have the Super Bowl. In 2028, we have the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And in between all those things, we have some little things like the NBA All-Star Game, March Madness, and other things, as you can see up there. For most cities, the business community would be clamoring to get any one of these events hosted in their city, any one of them, because of what a big boost to the local economy it would be. We have the biggest events in the world coming to Los Angeles, all crammed in within the next 3 years. And if we can go to the next slide, please. It's going to affect not just Los Angeles, but our entire region. And so this gives you a little bit of a sense of, how we're linking arms with our surrounding cities. Next slide. All of these cities have venues within them. And if you go to the next slide, this gives you kind of a geographical sense of what the Olympic and Paralympic Games are going to look like in terms of geography. So each of these numbers is a cluster of event venues. And then beyond this, there are venues even that go outside of this map as well, including as far as Oklahoma City. And let me just touch on that, because everybody asks, why Oklahoma City? Why do you have Oklahoma? Well, there's two events, canoe slalom and softball, that are going to be in Oklahoma City. And the reason for that is, for those two sports, Oklahoma City happens to already have the world-class greatest facility for those two sports already built. And so it significantly reduces costs and significantly increases revenues for the overall games to have those two sports there. And oh, by the way, the senator from Oklahoma happens to chair the Appropriations Committee, And there's some other advantages to having our partners in Oklahoma City vigorously supporting the 2028 games as well. So next slide. So this I just want to touch on this. Why this should matter, whether you give a darn about sports or not. Why this should matter to our region. Now next year, as I mentioned, we have 8 matches in Southern California. They'll all be at SoFi. Technically not in my jurisdiction, but it's part of my bailiwick here anyway. So 8 matches of the FIFA World Cup. And this gives you a sense of the scale of the economic impact of those 8 matches. Over $500 million of economic impact from those 8 matches. You can see $250 million in increased wages. And look at the tax revenue increases just from those 8 matches, having people coming into our region. That the boost that we get in tax revenues is phenomenal. Now, the 2028 games, the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games, this is not an exaggeration, will be the largest civilian event in the history of the world. It'll be not only the biggest Olympics, the biggest thing anyone has ever done. If we go to the next slide. So that is projected to result in $18 billion in economic impact. And I want to emphasize that to you because as many businesses are thinking about how they participate in the games, they're thinking about direct procurement. How do I become the supplier of cookies to the athletes of the Olympic Games or whatever? Whatever the business is, they're thinking about direct procurement. So LA28 is going to spend $7.1 billion. That's the LA28 budget. And for those of you who aren't following closely, there's an organizing committee. It's formed as a nonprofit corporation. That's LA28. They actually run the games. They do everything as far as preparation of the actual games. The host city does not do that. We make sure the city is prepared to welcome the games. But the organizing committee takes on the burden, raises the funds privately, and does all of that in order to conduct the actual games. So they're going to spend $7.1 billion in doing that. And they're going to bring in at least $7.1 billion, or there's going to be hell to be paid. So I fully expect it, still believe it, absolutely going to hold their feet to the fire on that. But look at the economic impact. It's well more than double that because it's not just the games. First of all, there's the multiplier effect, of course. But aside from that, every major corporation in the world is going to want to be present in Los Angeles during the games, doing hospitality events and things. All sorts of other ancillary business activity is going to be happening here at that time because everybody is going to want to have a piece of this. So it's not just the direct spend, it's also the indirect economic stimulus effect that has that I want all of our local businesses to be able to fully, participate in. So you can see, again, over $5 billion in labor income. And look at the tax revenues. State and local taxes, $700 million. That's like what we spend in a year on the fire department. That's how big this is for our region. $1.6 billion in federal taxes, which again, I remind the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee as often as we can. Federal taxes, $1.6 billion, because we're going to need our friends in the federal government to be helping us in order to realize that. Next slide, please. So aside from the economic impact, and I really want to get the flash poll slide deck because it was just fascinating information that was presented, and much of it tracks what we're anticipating and what we've been planning for. And one of the comments that seemed to be supported by many was that this gives us an opportunity to get prepared for long-term benefits well after the games in terms of taking advantage of sustainability, tourism, foreign direct investment, partnerships with international businesses, and so on. That is all very consistent with what our goals are. And this gives you a little bit of a sense of that. Again, the magnitude of this event, for those of you who remember the '84 games like I do, trust me, this is different. This is so much bigger than the '84 games was. The way we think of it is it's basically like having 7 Super Bowls in our city every single day for 2.5 weeks. That's what the Olympics is. And then continuing in the Paralympics, it's like 5 Super Bowls a day for another 2.5 weeks. So the magnitude of it is difficult to imagine. 15 million tickets will be sold for these events. We'll have, TV viewership. 5 billion people will be seeing Los Angeles during the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And so we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to present to them in that? And in my view, these major events, and none more than the Olympic and Paralympic Games, give us an opportunity for a reset. It gives us an opportunity to reintroduce ourselves to the world, to tourists, to investors everywhere around the world, and put our best foot forward. Next slide, please. Now, none of this would be worth doing if it's just for a month of sporting events. It would not be worth the effort just to put on the games. So we are planning for the sustainable, long-term, continuing legacy of benefit for the people of Southern California as well. And the mayor has envisioned these 9 categories as being our central focuses for legacy. And you see community business and procurement is right up there at the top. And so shortly, LA 28 will be releasing a list of their proposed community business and procurement plan for how to integrate as many small businesses as possible. And these other areas are important areas of legacy as well. Streets and transit, we're already making significant improvements in the countywide transit system with not for the games. There are things that needed to be done anyway, but the games become a motivator. They become a creator of urgency and focus, which allows us to get done things that maybe we wouldn't have gotten to as quickly otherwise. And you see these other areas as well. Youth sports, I just want to point out as well, because we've already benefited from $160 million of advance payments for the LA 28 games that are funding youth sports programs in our parks throughout Los Angeles right now. Community celebrations, this gets overlooked as well. But fan activations, community celebrations, can be little neighborhood events, or they can be major undertakings. And this is an opportunity for your businesses as well to be able to benefit. It's Mayor Bass's goal to make sure that this is a games for all, not just people who can plunk down the money that's necessary to go and see a gold medal match, but everybody in Los Angeles should feel a part of this. And that's why we're activating communities throughout Los Angeles, and surrounding cities are doing the same thing. All of those are events that local businesses need to be a part of and need to, find procurement opportunities relating to that. Arts and culture is another one. There's a cultural Olympiad with every Olympic Games. And it's not directly tied to it, but it's kind of an ancillary event to the games, where sometimes for months leading up to the games, there are cultural activations, there's all sorts of activities that are focused on the world being in Los Angeles and how do we present the best of our culture. So this is another opportunity for lots of activation by many of your businesses and others. Okay, next slide, please. So here's just an example of what I was mentioning about the youth sports legacy. We're receiving $160 million. So far, 500,000 Los Angeles young people have been able to participate in parks programming at a steeply discounted rate. because of this funding. And by the time of the games, we will have served over 1 million participants. And that's going to include a lot of adaptive sports as well. And that's one of the reasons that our first Paralympic Games is so important, because it's an opportunity to change people's perspectives and open their eyes a little bit about the need for full participation in sports and recreational activities. Next slide, please. This gives you a little bit a sense of what I was talking about with transportation. I served on the Metro Board for 11 years as well, and we had something that we called 28 by 28, some of the most important infrastructure investment projects of our region. Not all of them were directly linked to the games necessarily, but again, the games provide an incentive to get stuff done. We have to get this done by the time the world arrives. And the regional connector is one of the great examples of that. Certainly the LAX Metro Transit Center, the long-awaited connection between LAX and transit. We finally have that station opened. It's not quite linked yet. It will be. There's a little bit of a bus bridge still, but the station, if you haven't been to that station, you have to see it. That transit station is the most beautiful transit station. It looks like it's like an airport terminal. It's fantastic. So that's going to be a great success now that we actually have a large transit system to connect to as well. And you see some of these other examples, the LAX People Mover, the D-Line, Foothill Extension. All of these are things that the games are pushing us forward. Those are going to make for a better transit system, greater mobility, and very importantly, lots of money coming in and being invested in infrastructure projects. This is the biggest expenditure in transportation infrastructure in the nation, what we're undertaking right now. Thanks to Measure M and many of you for supporting it largely. Okay, next slide. So here's a couple of hints for you about how you can get more directly linked to these opportunities. And this is really important because one of the slides in the flash poll was about continuing engagement, and your continuing engagement is going to be vital on the positive side and also on the negative side, because this part is one of the most important parts of my responsibility for me, because I'm the son of a small business person who, was able to give me a good livelihood when I was growing up here in Los Angeles with a high school education, running his business. And I want to make sure that we give that opportunity to as many people here as possible. But also, I want to make sure that we're, like the doctors say, first do no harm. I want to make sure that the games are not adversely impacting our business community as well. And that's where communication and planning is going to come in, where your direct engagement is going to be so important to ensure that when there's street closures, when there's security zones that are put up, when there's delivery restrictions, those are the sorts of things where your voice is going to be really important to make sure we mitigate the potential downside and maximize the potential upside. So, as a starter, I would like all of you to go to www.rampla.org and sign up, please, on that site. That is your vehicle for being connected to procurement opportunities relating to major events, but also more broadly, even general procurement with the City of Los Angeles and with other government entities. So if you're not a part of Ramp LA, you should be. Similarly, Compete for LA is, it's based on the successful procurement outreach that the City of London did for the London Games. And we partnered with the LA Business Council and USC to create that. So competeforla.usc.edu. It's a terrible URL, but anyway, it is what it is. Compete for the number 4. I got to always say that. Competeforla.usc.edu. And the Greater LA Chamber of Commerce has now, I think many of you probably already know about it and perhaps participated in, Get in the Game. It's really a terrific resource, and you see the website that they have for that as well. on that, there are mentorship connection opportunities. There are videos that you can watch at your leisure that help explain some of the, how you overcome some of the procurement challenges. So for businesses who are kind of just starting out and trying to get themselves procurement ready, this is a great resource. And then it's not on this slide, it should be. John, we got to add it to the next slide. Mayor Bass created a new business navigator for the city, which you will find at business.lacity.org. And if you go there, you find all the business resources that the city includes, and especially the business navigator. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. I want to address the elephant in the room, because I was so thrilled to see in the flash poll how much optimism there is in this group. It was, heartwarming and a relief, because I got to tell you, these days, it seems like just about every place I go, the first question is, well, are we still going to be able to do the Olympics? And, I'm seeing all this stuff on the news, and are we going to be ready? And, there's all this sort of, tittering about, I'm not sure. And you hear some of this, even being spun up into political propaganda nonsense about Los Angeles. And I've had it to hear with that. And I will tell you why. In 1932, Los Angeles hosted its first Olympic Games. We built the Coliseum for the 1932 Olympics. Los Angeles City Hall was only 4 years old. It's 100 years old now. It was 4 years old when we hosted the Olympics. And it was in the middle of the Great Depression. People forget that. There were soup lines going down Broadway in Los Angeles in the middle of the worst economic time in modern world history. And Los Angeles raised its hands and said, bring the world to us. We'll host the Olympic Games. And it was a fantastic success that put LA on the world map like nothing else had up until that point. And it turned a profit. Now, fast forward to 1984. The Olympic movement was teetering on the edge of collapse. We had boycotted the Moscow Olympics in 1980, just 4 years earlier. And the Soviet bloc responded by boycotting our Olympics in 1984. People forget, but at this point right now in the preparation for the 1984 Olympics, we were in the worst recession since World War II in 1981. It was that we had 10% unemployment. And LA raised its hand and said, we'll save the Olympic movement, bring the Olympics to us. And the result was we created a new model for the Olympics that didn't involve public funds, that was entirely privately financed. And you know what? It was the most successful Olympics in Olympic history. So successful and so profitable that 40 years later today, we are still funding sports programs in our parks for kids based on the money we raised in 1984 from that Olympics. That's how successful it was. And in 2028, I have no doubt that this is our next opportunity to shine and to succeed. And I'm going to insist on financial profit for sure. But aside from that, this is a unique opportunity for us to really reset the way people think about Los Angeles. And at a time when there is so much negativity nationally, when there's so much division, when there's so much doubt about our future, there's nothing like these major events, and especially the Olympic and Paralympic Games, that unite us as a people, that inspire us, that make us believe that we can do big things again. This is our opportunity to do that, and we're going to be successful at it. So thank you all very much for having me, and if I have time, I can take questions. It's up to you.
Okay, so depends on who can raise their hands the fastest.
Yeah, we only got a little bit of time.
Hi, using my voice already. Hello, my name is Cheung Watson. Hello, my name is Cheung Watson. I'm a Veteran Employment Liaison Coordinator at PATH. So I, like everyone else, I am so excited as far as all of these games that are coming and opportunities, more so job opportunities within our community. So my question to you is, how can we support the city and the county workforces in developing midline management jobs for any of these companies that would be longer term versus the short term entry-level cashiering jobs that will come and go. I think this is an opportunity that we can be able to grow, support the city workforce development, and also the county workforce development. And I feel as if the time is now to start preparing for companies that want to do business, that may not even reside in California. But I think that that would be a great opportunity to be able to connect the dots in that way.
It absolutely is, and in fact, when we, excuse me, when we submitted the bid for the games, there were, and when we were successful and signed the contract, the host city contract, there were 3 issues that the LA City Council insisted that LA 28 form a working group to develop a sustainability plan around, a legacy plan around, excuse me. One was environmental sustainability. Another was community business that I mentioned. And the third was workforce development, because you are 100% right. The opportunities now to harness people's talents and give them this entree into, businesses and careers is one that we can't miss. We're going to have almost 100,000 people volunteering in these games. And so when you have 100,000 people who are going to be volunteers, if you don't harness that and give them a pathway into continuing, first of all, continuing civic engagement and that, engage, just support of their city, but also the career opportunities that come from that, and the resume building that comes from that, and all, and the leadership training opportunities that come from a thing like that. That is something we will absolutely be focusing on, both at the city level and LA 28 itself.
I'd just like to follow up. So, our veterans are ready now to be able to get into those programs. And so I'm waiting for the city side and the county side within the workforce development to be able to move our veterans into some type of training or opportunity. So I just wanted to
Thank you, and that's fantastic. I need to make sure I grab your card before I go. That's it? Okay. I'm getting the hook. Thank you, everybody. Oh, but I'm sorry. Next slide. Sorry. Next slide. That's how you can reach me. So if you didn't get to, get to ask your question, that's me on the top, and then Rachel Freeman is our Deputy Mayor for Business and Economic Development. So either one of us will be happy to be your concierges through the morass of the city in making sure that you have the opportunity to seize the day. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, wasn't that awesome? High points, $18 billion for the Olympics, $594 million, right? Labor, $243 million for FIFA, $18 billion again, about $5 to $6 billion for labor for the Olympics. This is all about building muscle memory, ladies and gentlemen, because this will leverage us going for the next 10 to 20 years. Come to BizFed Institute events, you'll get the information. So thank you, Paul. Greatly appreciate it. I'd like to next bring up our featured speaker, and someone who's become a friend of mine through our personal contact, sending text messages. She's a true champion for equity, opportunity, and regional leadership. Someone who's dedicated her career to building systems that empower people and drive transformation across Los Angeles. Supervisor Holly Mitchell represents LA's 2nd District and currently serves, actually she did serve as chair of the LA County Board of Supervisors. She did, and that was an experience, but also lends to her high level of expertise now. She leads with clarity, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to economic justice for all Angelenos. A third-generation Angeleno and a seasoned policymaker, Supervisor Mitchell is uniquely qualified to speak to the challenges and opportunities ahead as Los Angeles prepares for a once-in-a-generation wave of global events and commerce. Her tenure in the California State Senate, including her role as chair of the Senate Budget and Fiscal Review Committee, phew, that was a tough one, I bet, equipped her with a deep understanding of how to align public investments and community needs. She shaped statewide policy on housing, workforce development, small business support, and infrastructure, another tough one, all central to the conversations that we're going to be talking about today. Now at the helm of the largest county government in the nation, well, actually, she's part of the leadership of the largest county government in the nation. Supervisor Mitchell is leading countywide efforts to ensure that the economic benefits of major events like we're getting ready to experience, like the World Cup, Olympics, Super Bowl, and particularly with our historically underserved communities, her focus on equitable recovery, sustainable development, and long-term wealth building makes her a voice of indispensable insight for this room. Please join me in giving a powerful and well-deserved welcome to our featured speaker, Holly Mitchell.
I appreciate you. It's good to see you.
You too.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad that I got here early enough to see the flash poll and that notion of if we plan for it, right? I couldn't agree with you more. We got to plan for it. And it was great also to hear Paul's comments. As I was listening to Paul and looking at the charts about all the cities that are impacted, it made me think about a family reunion. You know, Mayor Bass is the head of the family, but there are a whole bunch of other cities who are vying for that role. You know, my potato salad is better than Big Mama's. Everybody wants to, you know. And so imagine it, these multiple levels of government. It's like a family reunion. And everybody feels, you know, the city of Carson, the mayor of Carson is like, I've got 5 events. You know, the mayor of Inglewood, Mayor Butts is like, it's the Inglewood Olympics. And so it's, and then the Metro's like, oh, LA 28 is going to finance it all. LA 28 isn't going to pay for the electric buses that we need. We have to double the fleet of electric buses that we currently have. So you can imagine, you all have family reunions where it looks all pretty, where you got your T-shirts with your names on it, and then by day 2, you're ready to go home. So we're going to manage. Thank you, Mayor Bass, for appointing Paul to that position. He can try to help navigate some of the family disputes during this process. And then there's LA 28 that comes in and says, I'm the head of the family. And all of us are looking at LA 28 like, you got to come through us. So it's been an interesting process thus far. I try not to get anxious when I look at that slide with all of those events coming to town. Yes, there are opportunities, but I'm like, it's going to be an interesting experience. So I'm very glad. Thank you, Kevin. It sounds like he and Paul had lovely conversations that got Paul here. Frankly, I got my arm twisted behind my back. Teasing you, Kevin. I'm really glad to be here to really talk to you about opportunities that we all have to plan for, as your flash poll said, to make sure we are actually getting ready. You know, but in order to have a meaningful and realistic conversation about how we do that, I think we really need to start with a clear and honest look at where we are today. Businesses and communities in LA are facing enormous challenges. While we're less than 6 months out from the devastating wildfires that damaged and destroyed thousands of businesses, many more saw revenue drop as Angelenos evacuated or just stayed home. The federal tariffs have increased costs and created uncertainty and confusion for many. And frankly, the ongoing raids and federal immigration enforcement have layered on yet another economic crisis, further upending day-to-day operations for many businesses. Many workers feel they have no option but to stay home in the face of fear that they may be kidnapped on the street or in their place of work. I've heard directly from business owners that they are seeing drops in revenues as Angelenos stay home out of fear, or they're forced to close for fear of enforcement activity. And I know some of you may have been subject to the curfew in downtown LA. And so I'm clear, and I have shared very publicly at board meetings and in the media, that what our region needs to stem the tide of this unfolding economic crisis is for the raids to stop. I'm sure we all would agree that a fair, equitable, affordable pathway to citizenship is what's most important, but the way in which this process has been thrust upon the city of LA at no invitation by our mayor or our governor is problematic for all of us, including business. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that it is driving business and driving workers into the shadows. So I'm hoping that all of you as businesses, as business leaders, as pillars in our community will use your voice and your platforms to call for an end to the actions that are upending our communities as a result, and as a result are harming workers and your business. In the throes of contending with all of this, 2028 might feel like light years away, but it's not. We will blink and it will be here. And what's unfolding now further underscores the importance of harnessing the historic investments in the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games to create wealth building and revenue generating opportunities for local business and local entrepreneurs. We can't afford to let another mega event come and go without leaving real, tangible benefits behind. This anticipated spending presents an enormous opportunity for our local business and workers, and an equity lens is essential to ensure that these dollars create wealth building and career opportunities that directly benefit all of you in this room. That's why I was proud to join with my colleague, Supervisor Solis, and we authored a motion last year directing LA County to study the economic impact of the 28 Games, particularly for our unincorporated communities that aren't represented on those lists where cities are listed, and to set bold goals for small business inclusion and workforce development. If we don't set a goal, it's easy to miss the target. We want to set aggressive, frankly, goals, because that's when you know what you're measuring, and we'll know whether we got there. We'll know whether we were successful. At the county level, the study is in its final draft form, and while it's not yet public, I want to give you a preview of the vision we are advancing at the county level. Our proposed goals for the Games include 75% of total spending with local small businesses, 40% targeted local hire, particularly from our underserved, hardly reached communities, 60% of the contracts awarded by LA 28, including subcontracts awarded to small business, with 50% of those contracts being awarded to diverse or underrepresented small businesses, like those that are women-owned and minority-owned. 25% of official game merchandise designed and manufactured in LA County, with 75% of the licensed retailers being locally owned. I want to see LA 28 partner with leaders in this room in responsible manufacturing, such as the Alliance for Responsible Apparel Manufacturing and Purchasing and the Garment Worker Center. In order to meet any of these goals, businesses have to know how to find games-related contracting and how to apply for them. That's why we're also calling on LA 28 to put all contracting opportunities up on Ramp LA, an online marketplace for regional procurement opportunities with a 12-month rolling forecast of future contracts starting January 2026, so our small businesses can prepare. I'm clear that these are ambitious goals and targets, but they're measurable and we believe achievable. But they require a partnership with LA 28. And I'm glad to hear from Paul that LA 28 plans to release their public benefits goals, because we haven't heard them yet. And I'm clear, having traveled to Paris for the Paralympics, that by this time, Paris had their community benefits identified. So I feel like we're behind the 8 ball, and how can you say it's a priority if you haven't acknowledged your commitment to them yet? So Hear us, LA 28. We want to hear your community benefits, and we want them to be true stretch goals that meet the unique opportunity and the unique need of LA County. We cannot, and I argue should not, allow a $12 billion investment with $7 billion in vendor contracts to bypass the very communities that keep this region running. So I'm calling again on LA 28 to join us in achieving these ambitious goals, and we are inviting partnership because we'll not host an Olympic and Paralympic Games that ignores working people, small business, and our historically overlooked communities. We've seen all of this done before and, frankly, done well. I had the privilege, again, of attending the Paralympic Games and saw firsthand the power of local investment to grow the local economy. During the 2024 Paris Games, 90% of suppliers were from France. 78% of contracts were awarded to small and medium-sized business. Additionally, over 90% of licensed merchandisers were small and medium-sized French businesses. And all the athletes' laundry was handled by a local social enterprise operated by workers with disabilities. That didn't happen by accident. That was planned for. It was intentional. They set aggressive goals and targets for themselves, and they met them. Paris didn't just showcase athletic excellence, it also invested in its people. And together, I believe, with your partnership, I'm confident that LA can do the same. So, you know, Paul talked about the fan zones, and we saw that 15 billion tickets will be sold. What I also fully appreciated while in Paris is, while people will travel here and they may be here for the full 2 weeks, they don't have tickets for events every day. That's why it's important for all of our cultural assets to be ready. When I think about the county's cultural assets, LACMA, Natural History Museum, Hollywood Bowl, your businesses, fan zones where people get the opportunity to fully experience the beautiful diversity and complexity of all of LA County. So I'm hoping to stand up our amazing county assets and parks to be fan zones, because people won't have a ticket for every hour of the day to be at an event. They're going to fully experience the beauty that our region has to offer. That's why all of you in this room and beyond really have to be ready to have the opportunity, not only for the workforce development, but also for the business opportunities, because people will be in every corner of our region and county. And it's important that through the fights of the family reunion, that we all coordinate to make sure that you are prepared. It is my job as an agent of government at the county level to cut through all the bureaucratic red tape I can, and we've been doing that over the last 5 years, to make procurement and contracting easier for all of you. And we are doing that with our Office of Economic Development, a relatively new department in the county, my own team, the Carolyns, Carolyn here and Carolyn Terosis, who focus on workforce opportunity and making sure we're doing all we can to make sure that procurement with the county doesn't continue to have the barriers it has historically. So we're trying to do our part. I hope that you will step up and help us in creating the opportunity to welcome the world to LA, as Paul said once again. I think it's important that we're clear about where we're starting. We have some work to do today to make sure that you as businesses can prosper and that your workforce feels safe to come to work every day. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was great to see so many familiar faces in the room.
One question, Holly? Yeah. We have one question. There we go.
I went for it. Supervisor, so great to see you. This is Claudia, downtown LA.
Yeah.
Not sure if you remember me, but today I'm here with Now Art and Next Art Foundation, and we do these lavishly public free events, a lot of different art and technology implementations. We do believe that the time to create these opportunities are now, that also creates sponsorships. We've been in conversations with Metro. We are certified in every single thing, California United certification. And we understand that with the need for the funds to come in, creating these opportunities for sponsors and matching them with the small businesses is what we do through arts and culture, creating these opportunities for communities to exist. Everything has to be site-specific. Communities are not going to gather overnight.
Right.
You have to build that from the get-go.
I agree. And from Metro's perspective, our CEO was talking about we need to start now for World Cup. It's not about just waiting to 2028.
Correct.
At Metro, the focus is what can we stand up now for World Cup, use it as a practice opportunity to then be prepared.
So we were waiting, for that response. Where can we start some pilots within the metro agencies? And it was taking us a while, so we decided to create our own opportunity. And we're doing 30 different locations across the county on parks, metro stations. They are related to the festival trail and the mapping of the Olympics. So I'm asking you, can you please cut through the red tape for us to start, these implementations?
Okay, so what red tape? Like Metro's not being responsive? Like what red tape? Because Metro is, again, at our board, I chair operations committee, we had a conversation just last week about looking at fan zones, how we stand up and bring services like we saw in Paris at every train station, how we activate all of our train stations. So we're prioritizing those that are centrally located around venues. So tell me what red tape. Because I'm like, call Wiggins. Today.
And we love working with them.
Okay.
So we have been in these conversations about the fan zones. We've done presentations about interactive participation, where you can kick the ball to the screen and it feels like you're playing with it. We've done through all these conversations. We have a partnership with Show Imaging, Panasonic. We've done all the presentations and we're waiting.
Well, you know what? That's like we waiting for LA 28 too.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I think the reality is, remember, it's the family reunion, and I think that you have positioned yourself as best you can. At this last board meeting, we talked about how we're going to try to kick some of these things off for World Cup next year, and so I would just stay in close contact with Metro. If you've done the presentations, you're probably in the queue, and
we believe in being hyper local, but
I
also
agree
creating
too.
opportunities for partnerships internationally.
I agree too.
So
one thing I learned in Paris and Metro, and the same is going to apply to FIFA, that at the international level, they're going to bring in their sponsors, and we can't, counter. If they bring in Adidas, we can't bring in Nike, et cetera, et cetera. And yet there's opportunity for us to, and responsibility for us to indeed fundraise. LA 28 is not going to pay for the fan zones. We have to bring that to the table. So I think that there are some restrictions in terms of how we pay for it, but keep working with Metro. If you've done the presentations, I don't know that it's red tape. All of us have experienced a whole bunch of hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
We're waiting for LA 28 to talk about what their community benefits model is. So I don't think it's about red tape. I think it's about us just all getting in place, pushing to make sure that we're ready to launch, and focusing on World Cup, I think, next year as an opportunity to figure out what makes sense for us in terms of location, regional representation, and what we present is going to be a really great first step.
So we're going to have to stop here.
Yes, for sure. I just want to say thank you so much.
I appreciate
you.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
if only we had a summit where we'd have Metro showing up to talk about these issues.
So let's give Holly a hand.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. And Holly, at least I was gentle with you. So now we're going to move into our first panel discussion. Let's get business ready now. That's the theme of the day, right? A bold look at how our region can help equip small business entrepreneurs, investors for the momentous opportunities ahead. So I'm thrilled to introduce our moderator, Kelly Lobianco, one of my colleagues and steering committee members over the last 3 years at California Jobs First. Kelly brings more than 15 years' experience advancing workforce development, entrepreneurship, and economic mobility at the local, state, and national level. Prior to her role in Los Angeles County, she led strategic initiatives at the New York City Department of Small Business Services and was a senior fellow at the Center for Government Excellence at Johns Hopkins, where she worked with cities across the country to design inclusive economic recovery strategies. As a founding director of Los Angeles County DEO, Department of Economic Mobility, or Opportunity rather, she's built the agency from the ground up, developing policies and programs that prioritize people, removing systemic barriers, and delivering resources directly to small businesses and job seekers. Under her leadership, the department has launched multi-million-dollar initiatives to support small business startups, provide technical assistance, and create jobs in growth industries. Kelly is deeply committed to building an inclusive economy that works for every community in LA County, making her uniquely equipped to lead this conversation about how we get business ready now. Please join me in welcoming Kelly to the podium.
Hello, everyone. All right. Good morning. I think we're still in morning. Yes. Thank you, Kevin, the BizFed team. I'm so happy to be here today. As you heard, my name is Kelly Lobianco, and I'm director of the LA County Department of Economic Opportunity. You just got to hear from my boss, Supervisor Mitchell, as she helped us set the stage. I'm very excited to serve as your moderator for the Let's Get Ready Now panel. Before, without any further ado, I'm going to welcome up my esteemed colleagues. So first of all, I'm going to have Christine Peterson, LA City's Director of International and Trade and Investment. Come on up. Thank you, Christine. I'm going to have Libby Williams, LA City's Director of Small Business and Policy. Come on up. And third, Alicia Rivers, Director of BizFed Advocacy Academy. Come on up as well. Hello. All right, I'll let them get settled. Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, so we just had Kevin, we had LA City's Paul Krekorian, we had LA County Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell. They helped us set the stage. There are billions and billions of dollars in potential from FIFA World Cup, from the Super Bowl, from LA 28, from the 9 total events that are coming in the next few years, and beyond for local, small, diverse businesses and workers that need to tap into, that we need to tap into for maximum economic and community impact, and to position ourselves as the sports entertainment capital of the world. I think that's something as an economic development agency we're thinking about a lot. How do we maximize our community benefit? But we're not just here, within our region. We're gonna be on the national and global stage, and we are every single day. That means those bold goals that you heard about, we're excited to be coming out and making those commitments, but also getting organized and ready for direct contracting and hiring, community and business activations around venues, festivity zones or fan zones, and mobility hubs, tourism and hospitality throughout the region, and investment in our youth and our workers, our small businesses, our infrastructure, our environment, that will have a lasting legacy. While there are opportunities with LA 28, and we are working directly with them to make sure we see those commitments and see those benefits, and some of the organizing committees, the county, the cities, countries, and the private sector are all going to be investing far and wide in our region, and we have a short window to get prepared. How do we all get ready and take advantage so that the world sees what we're all about and what we have to offer? Very quickly, before I have my esteemed colleagues introduce themselves, at the Department of Economic Opportunity, we're investing with amazing partners directly in our local diverse and small businesses. Supervisor Mitchell helped launch the Economic Mobility Initiative just 2 years ago, where we're offering education through entrepreneurship academies, training and technical assistance with partners like the LA Area Chamber and their One LA Procurement Accelerator, and capital. We know that folks need capital to make it all happen. Folks can get certified with the county through our department, and we're tripling the number of certified businesses, and to make sure that folks know how to procure, to access procurement opportunities, the 6 to 8 billion that we do annually at the county, and also tap into the world of supports that prepare you for public sector contracting and all the investments that are to come. We also do capital development through commercial acquisition, facade and tenant improvement, and focused commercial corridor revitalization. We're also training the workforce of today and tomorrow in key industries that we need for the games, but also for a vibrant sports entertainment ecosystem. You're going to hear a lot today from our colleagues at the city and the county and BizFed on how to take advantage, but there are a lot of free resources and a lot of technical assistance available today and coming. So we hope will stay in touch with us. But let's dig in. I'm going to ask each of our panelists to provide an introduction to themselves and how they connect to this work. We'll just do a quick 1-minute intro and we'll go down the line.
Hello, everyone. Alicia Rivers. Great to be here. I am the director of the BizFed Advocacy Academy. This is a program that was founded by the Los Angeles County Business Federation and the BizFed Institute. And really at its core, it's about bridging that information gap and also building a civic muscle. We are working with small business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and making sure that we are like demystifying the access to power. We're letting everyone know and we're shifting mindsets so that they understand that you don't have to allow things to just happen around you. You actually have the right to get in the game and take advantage of these opportunities. And a part of shifting that mindset, we're also making sure that we're not just referring to these as games, special events. These aren't just procurement opportunities. These are billion-dollar economic engines. And it's really important that we're framing the mindset that way so that we can make sure that people are walking into these rooms confidently, because this is where the decisions are being made, contracts are being awarded, and policy is being shaped. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Libby Williams. I am the Director of Small Business and Policy in Mayor Bass's Office of Business and Economic Development. What we do in my office is to focus on how can we get all of these small businesses prepared. And we're looking at this not just at a city level, but on a regional level, because we know that we are the small business capital within the nation in terms of the number of small businesses within the United States. We have them here. And just as you heard Holly say, there's absolutely no reason why LA 28 should have to go outside of LA County borders in order to provide and find all of the small businesses and resources they need to put on a successful games. So what we're focused on is working with all of our partners, working with our business source centers, making sure that they have the information that they need in order to train and help increase the capacity of the small businesses that we have here locally so that they are prepared, just as she said, in order to be successful on bidding and also on implementing on that contract. That's about it for us. It's a lot.
Good morning, everyone.
I love that. Can I give it to you? I like that. All right, she's going to give it to you. Can I give it to you afterwards? Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine Peterson. I work in the Mayor's Office of International Affairs on the same floor as Libby here. And over the 6.5-ish years that I've been with the office, our focus has been on promoting exports among small businesses, so accessing those international opportunities abroad, and then attracting international investment to the city of LA that is of high quality, that creates jobs locally, and that partners with local business, that creates job opportunities within local businesses as well. Because for every job within a foreign-owned enterprise in LA County, there's 3 supported in locally grown companies. So since I started, we've known that we've had the Olympic and Paralympic Games coming since we were awarded those games back in 2017. And of course, FIFA World Cup we got in 2022. That's really our North Star, because as everyone has said today, it's an unparalleled opportunity. The eyes of the world are going to be on Los Angeles, and we want all of the the local gems, whether it's tourism gems. I see Patty McJennet here from LA Tourism, or the great products and services of LA small business really showcased, and to shine that light on all of you all.
Thank you so much. So you see we have world-class panel right here to tell you about how to get involved. One thing I do just want to point out too, because Christine just mentioned this, is that the games are a high point for us of opportunity, especially in a moment where we've had such tragic loss in the last 6 months alone. But some of what we've talked about, at least at DEO and among my colleagues here, is we're going to use this to do everything that we've wanted to do to build up our community, our local small businesses, and our workers. So, I think that this is a moment to harness and an opportunity that we can all get excited about for that. Christine, let's start global. How is the Office of International Affairs helping shape the city's global image and ensure that we're seen as a welcoming, prepared, and world-class host?
So we welcome dozens of international delegations every year, and many of those are led by senior level government officials from other countries, cities. We welcome business delegations as well. When we meet with those business delegations that are interested in expanding to Los Angeles, we encourage them to partner with local companies, to use the platforms like Ramp LA, which help connect companies to each other. They're not just procurement platforms, but they're also a way to connect to each other. And we work with many of our local partners like Global LA, World Trade Center LA, the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, all to get the word out about Los Angeles, because there are a lot of misconceptions about Los Angeles, as many of you are likely aware. We're known for Hollywood, which is a blessing and a curse, because we're not so well known for our space and aerospace industry, for manufacturing, the largest manufacturing hub in the country, for bioscience, life sciences. We have a huge industry in life sciences. So we work to correct those misconceptions and get the word out. And then a lot of the work that our partners are doing to showcase the diversity of Los Angeles, LA Tourism, again, highlighting the wonderful cultural assets across the city of LA. And when we are having conversations with international companies that want to open an office, open manufacturing, open R&D centers in LA, we present to them the opportunities in every neighborhood, not just the districts that tend to kind of suck up a lot of the oxygen in the room. So we're really focusing on more inclusive and high quality foreign direct investment.
Thank you. Yeah, and appreciate all the work you're doing to make sure folks know that LA is still in business despite things that are going on, and that, I know I keep saying we're the sports entertainment capital of the world, and I think we should just keep with that too, not just entertainment. Christine, can you tell us about any specific collaborations that your offices have had in the run-up to the games, or that you're excited about in the coming months?
Sure. Well, we just hosted a great delegation from Canada that was interested in partnering with local companies around bringing better accessibility to venues, wayfinding and signage. When these companies come here and invest in LA, they need local business partners. So we also definitely encourage joint ventures. That can be a way for companies here to also go global. So that was a great recent delegation that came. We also met with a Nigerian delegation focused on entertainment and culture and technology. So we really touch all parts of the world. And my colleagues on the international event diplomacy side are meeting with a lot of national organizing committees about the hospitality houses that the mayor wants to encourage to be established in Los Angeles. And those are really big opportunities for small business to get connected to event planners, hospitality, all those services that'll be coming for, again, not just the games and not just FIFA, but even the FIFA Pro Club that's happening right now. There is a French team with a whole house on Melrose that is activated in so many different ways. and they have partnered with a lot of local companies to do that. So again, yeah, it's not just FIFA World Cup or the Olympics, but all of the mega events along the way.
Thank you so much. And we are really excited about some of the international houses, recognizing that we are one of the most diverse counties, if not the most, in the country, and that the diaspora here can connect with the tourists that are coming in. It's going to be incredible. All right, let's talk local now. Libby, can we talk a little bit about the steps that the City of Los Angeles is taking to ensure that local businesses are aware and prepared for the contracting and partnership opportunities from these major events?
Absolutely.
I know you're busy.
So one of the things that we're doing, Mayor Bass has started a program called Procure LA, which we launched last October at the Sports and Entertainment Supplier Diversity Summit that was held downtown at the LA Convention Center. And that was the initial beginning for us to be able to expose the small businesses throughout the county and the city, of course, that want to have some involvement, that want to make sure they can get a piece of the pie. Because everyone sees LA 28 coming into our region as a real great opportunity for their business to expand or for them to get some business opportunities or contracts. So what we have to do is make sure that that's not just talk, but we have to help make sure that they have the actual capacity. I have a colleague who puts it this way. Honestly, not all small businesses are ready for those type of contract opportunities. And we have to understand that and be clear about the fact that not everybody is going to get a contract at LA 28 or even one of the other organizations that are doing events around the area. So you've got three pots. You've got those who they're just not ready yet. They're still starting out. They're more in that entrepreneurial stage, or they just don't have the back office and capacity level. You've got those over in this pile that they've been doing this a while. They are experienced. They know what they're doing. They just need to give me the RFP and tell me when it's due, and we can go. But you've got this sweet spot in the middle that we're really targeting. Those are the ones who've been operating for a while. They know how to do their business. They know how to run it well, but they lack, perhaps it's some capacity in their back office. I say all the time, a lot of contractors know how to do whatever their widget is they make or whatever their service, but they don't have anybody in the back office that knows how to make sure they send the invoices out on time, that does all the management to make sure that your insurance is in place, all those things that you have to have in place, right? Because they've got their cousin or their niece or their wife or somebody else who's doing that, but not somebody who's trained on that. Those are the areas we want to make sure that we're working with them to increase that capacity. They also may not have ever experienced actually responding to an RFP. I don't even know what to do. What do I put in there? What's the best way to present my company in the best light so that I'll be selected or at least make it to the finals? That's the group that we are really targeting with our training through Procure LA, through our workshops and trainings, and also through cohort training that you mentioned that LA Chamber has with their One LA program. LISC has an excellent program as well that's called Ascend. I know that Lindustry has one that's called the Procurement Academy, something like that. My point is that these type of, not just a workshop here or there, these are 3-month-long cohorts that you work in a small group of 30 to 40 individuals so that you can understand the ins and outs and truly get prepared. All of these programs are free of charge. What I'd like to do is see us expand them to our city's business source centers, and we're having that conversation now. And also with the small business development centers, because business source centers can only work with City of LA businesses, but small business development centers run by the SBA can work with anybody throughout the county. So we look at this as a regional focus. So you understand, the City of Los Angeles looks at any business that's local is any business in the county of Los Angeles. So when you get certified as a local small business in the city, you're actually somewhere within the county, and that's purposeful because we see this as a regional effort. Hopefully that helps.
It does. I hope you wrote down Procure LA with PACE, that you wrote down One LA, Inclusive Procurement Accelerator with LA Area Chamber, Ascend with LISC, Procurement Academy with Lendustry, the Center by Lendustry. These are all great partners. Make sure you're checking those out and talking to us about how to get signed up. So in addition to programs like that can get folks information, the technical assistance, we always say don't do this alone, and unlock opportunities for capital today that primes you for opportunities with LA 28 and beyond tomorrow. What are some of the things that you're doing with other departments and at the local and regional level to streamline the process for small businesses?
So one thing that you have heard, I think, from all the speakers so far today was RAMP. So RAMP is the Regional Area Marketplace. Good Lord, I always forget it. Thank you. Regional
Hey.
Alliance for Marketplace Procurement. Goodness, I'm still on Boivin. That was the predecessor. So RAMP is the official procurement app for all of the departments within the city, and that includes all of our proprietary departments. If you don't know, that means DWP, LAWA, LA World Airports, as well as the Port of Los Angeles. And all the departments within the city all put all of their opportunities on RAMP. If you are not signed up on RAMP, it's free of charge. You need to make sure you do that today. Because the other thing that we have done, we have reached across the city lines and boundaries, and we have invited all of our partners as well. The county as well lists their opportunities on RAMP. We've invited for-profits, organizations as well, and corporations. Please list your opportunity, because one thing we've heard over and over from small business is, why do I have to register on 50 million different sites in order to get information about an opportunity? Can't you guys work together and figure this out? So that's one of the reasons why we've created this and given the opportunity. It's open for all of them to use. Most of them still also have their own site as well, but at least you have one place that you can go to. So please make sure you register on RAMP. The other thing I want to make sure you do is complete it when you make sure you list all of the NAIC codes. If you don't know, NAICs are the North American Industrial Classification Code System. That one I knew, but not RAMP, right?
It's just RAMP. Just remember RAMP.
Right, just RAMP. But list everything that you do and provide. Don't just list one thing. Whatever, if you've got others, make sure that you get very specific so that you can get those opportunities, because as somebody is posting their RFP, what they're going to do is they're going to list, this is who we're looking for. And they're usually going to base it on that, as well as if you've got the categories of the type of business that you are. So RAMP is one of the best ways that we have a lot of the opportunity to involve all of our regional partners, and that's where you need to be, and LA 28 is also supposed to be there. Now, I said also supposed to be there. They have already put some expressions of interest on RAMP that have gone through. They haven't done any full RFPs yet, but as Holly Mitchell mentioned, the goal is to make sure that by January 2026, because they have said very clearly, the majority of the opportunities for LA 28 are going to come out 18 months before the games start, right? So that's really January 2027. That's when they're really going to start coming out with most of them. But we know some should come out before that. And so the hope is that they will be used to and accustomed to and work with us on RAMP so that you guys are going to be able to see all the opportunities and where you have the opportunity to submit your response.
Yes, thank you so much. And I will say, like, if you get certified with the city, with the county, with Metro, with the many places you have to sign up, even if you're not getting, even if you're looking towards LA 28 and you're like, that's a contract with a vendor, that's not with the county or the public sector, that is where we're going to be pushing resources. We're going to be pushing information. Like the latest that we have from our partners in the private sector for opportunities for you are going to be streamlined to our certified business. So it's really important that you get signed up and certified. And I am pleased that the city and the county are working towards reciprocity for our local small business enterprise. We know it's a headache. We're working together. We know we have a pathway forward, and so expect that, in short order. All right, Alicia, tell us about the BizFed Academy. Tell us about how you are equipping local entrepreneurs and small businesses to navigate the complex procurement processes.
Yes, thank you. So like all of the other resources, we do walk you through one-on-one. We partner, we understand your goals and make sure you understand compliance, regulation, and also, like Libby stated, most businesses are not ready for procurement opportunities. So the Advocacy Academy is actually a lot bigger than that one focal point, because we're teaching strategy. We're teaching strategy and self-advocacy. And again, as she stated, most businesses are not ready or are not going to be even in the position to get a major contract. However, that does not mean that the economic opportunity is off the table. Some people will say, well, I'm not a big business, or I've never done this before. Is this for me? Or I'm not in sports and it's not really anything related to the games. Is this opportunity for me? And I just ask them, well, would your business benefit from an extra 1 to 10 million people being in the area? Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, then you need to get ready. Then there's money on the table and there's access and the opportunity, and we work with you one-on-one to understand those goals. We partner with mentors, and of course we navigate and we use our resources and our vast network to pair and make sure that you are getting those those little things that you may not be prepared for. How do you walk into a room? How do you show up? How do you introduce yourself? What things to talk about, and how to just overall get ready. And these are all things that, the things that we're teaching are the things that you didn't learn in a textbook. You had to show up, you had to fail, you had to fumble, and really that's what is so scary to have people not even want to try, is the fear of failure. But in this program, we're with you every step of the way. You have access to our entire team, and we're working with you. We're pairing you with mentorship, and even after those 6 weeks, we have an alumni network, so where you're working with subject matter experts. If you want to connect with Google, with Verizon, with a local area chamber, then you're working with someone that has done what you're already trying to do.
Thank you for that too. And I appreciate what you're saying too, that there's a lot of ways to participate beyond just getting a contract, and also bringing it back to what Christine said, that there's opportunities for matching and going in on contracts together, because you might offer a slice of the pie, a service or a good, but there's a lot on the table. Really, everyone's going to be buying everything. All right, let's talk a little bit about the fact that we are one of the most diverse counties in the country, and it's a great competitive edge for us as we enter the global stage. I'm going to have a question for each of you, but Christine, how is the city ensuring that these international events reflect and uplift the diversity of our communities, especially immigrants and underserved neighborhoods that represent the global mosaic of LA?
I think, as you heard Executive Director Krekorian say, it really is a priority for Mayor Bass to do exactly that, to show the diversity of Los Angeles, to have everyone feel that they are a part of the Olympic movement, and to actually be a part of the Olympic movement. So even if there isn't a venue in your community, and maybe you wouldn't even want a venue in your community, there could be other opportunities, such as a training site for one of the teams. How exciting would that be? A national house. National houses are houses that are programmed by foreign countries to showcase culture, art, business, and they're often open to the public. They can be viewing centers as well. So those watch parties and opportunities to engage in the game, even without necessarily having a ticket, those are something that our office is working on, to work with those other countries to have them choose areas across the city of LA, and that'll uplift all those neighborhoods.
Thank you so much. And for Libby and Alicia, can you tell me how the programs, like quickly, because we've got a 5-minute time, so just FYI to everyone, quickly, how you are targeting some of your programs or partner programs towards diverse local businesses to make sure that small minority-owned businesses have access to the opportunities to get ready?
Sure, absolutely. How we're doing that is using all of the diverse local chambers of commerce, all of the ethnic chambers of commerce, all of those that are targeted on minority and women and disadvantaged individuals, so that they understand there are opportunities here for you as well to be included as part of these opportunities, as well as the free services that we have. We always joke that we are the best kept secret in town. When I say we, I mean all of us are always the best kept secret. We don't want to be a secret. We want them to use all the services that we have, because if you succeed, we succeed. Because if you succeed, then we get more taxes into the city and able to provide more services to the residents and businesses.
700 million and 1.6 billion, right?
That's it. That's how we're doing our outreach, to make sure we are inclusive.
Thank you. Do you want to quickly comment on that?
Yes, so I mean, well, what's next for us? We are expanding, and again, we understand that the global footprint is large, so we have partnered with Arizona State University to launch a new program that is preparing small business owners to enter the global trade market. We want everyone to, the world is going to be coming to California, but we all in you know the United States really on that major platform. But we're also making sure that businesses can introduce their products to the rest of the world as well. So expanding that economic opportunity is just better for us here at the region. So thank you.
Awesome. So you heard the BizFed Advocacy Academy in a brand new partnership with Arizona State. So make sure you're watching out for that and signing up. Last thing, we'll go down the line. For the group, what is either one piece of advice and or call to action for the folks in the room based on your area of work? I'll start with you, Christine.
I think we've talked a lot about getting ready for the events that are coming and getting ready for business opportunities here within the city and county of Los Angeles. But I think I would also encourage companies to think, are you ready to go international? Are you ready to export your product or your service? These games are, Brisbane will be hosting in 2032, and they're coming, and many Australians are coming to Los Angeles to learn from us. Can your product or service translate to Brisbane when they're hosting? Or the athletic competition, FIFA, the next FIFA World Cup, which I believe is in Montevideo in Uruguay. Could you go international? And there are resources and tools to help prepare you to do that. I'm so excited to hear about yours. There's also some that are listed on the Business Navigator that Libby's shop has put up.
I would say, first and foremost, get yourself registered on RAMP. Attend more events like this, be they networking opportunities or those that have matchmaking event opportunities. Make sure that you have your capability statement done and tight. If you don't have that, you need to have that. It should not be more than one page front and back. Don't make it 50 million pages. We got a slide deck. Leave the slide deck to send as your thank you, nice to meet you, want to follow up. But that's not what you lead with. And fourth, I want to say, be prepared on how to pitch yourself. It's amazing how I find so many small businesses know their product, know their work well, but they cannot for the life of them pitch themselves in a 2-minute conversation because that's not something they're comfortable with. Learn to get comfortable with that. Learn how to pitch your business. Take the opportunity to do some of these programs that actually get you that training so that you know how to best present and to market your business because that's what it's going to take to separate you from the others.
I would say lean in more than usual. I know a lot of people in this room probably are already familiar with procurement opportunities and where to access information, but it's this opportunity that's coming is far too big for us to be business as usual. So in order for us to really capitalize on that and not let the 2027 and 2028 sneak up on us, we have to start now. We have to lean in, whatever those expertises are, you make sure that you follow through and really show up because this is, like, again, multi-billion-dollar opportunities are on the line.
Thank you. And I'll just add for the County of Los Angeles, get registered as a vendor with our Internal Services Department, doingbusiness.lacounty.gov. Get certified with the Department of Economic Opportunity. We'll help you with the cities or metros or the states and vice versa. If you go see Libby in our Economic and Workforce Development Department on the city side, they'll do the same because we all work together. Find yourself in one of these spaces to get certified. You can sign up for an Entrepreneurship Academy, another option for free technical assistance, 8 weeks with the Department of Economic Opportunity and our small business development centers, and just stay in touch. You should be on our listservs. That's where we're gonna be pushing information, and we're really, really excited to engage with you. Thanks so much. I'm gonna open it up for questions. Awesome, we've got 2 questions, and we got, oh, okay, great. I'm gonna let them do the navigating.
Community, right? Teamwork. All right.
Good morning. I'm Robert Sacedo, President and CEO of Community Build.
Hello.
Thank you for sharing. I think where the gap is with small businesses and knowing, we hear about contract opportunities, et cetera, for small business. And most of us in this room know how to do that and select NASIC codes, et cetera. But just wanted to make a recommendation. One is, if with Ramp LA and other portals like that, if there were a way to source segregate major event needs in Ramp so people would not have to negotiate between everything that's on Ramp, I think that would be helpful. The other thing would be coming out with a cheat sheet of what types of contracting is going to be available for major events. What are they looking for, right? So people can better plan and strategize towards that. And then, of course, a better understanding of how to truly navigate the NACIC code process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are great suggestions. Appreciate that.
Yeah, over here. Hi, my name is Dana Buchanan. I own a large catering firm down in Long Beach, and we actually did the Billie Eilish, Snoop Dogg. We catered that whole party on the beach, filming on the beach. So have a little bit of experience with that. I wanted to know, is anybody looking at the California State Certified Green Business Program? Because I think that would be a place that's rich with sustainable businesses, and I know that's one of the main core values for the Olympics.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And look, we already have someone who's gotten actual contracts with the game, so awesome. All right, I think that's it. Thank you so much, BizFed. Thank you, panelists. Appreciate you.
Wait, we have another question. We have another question. Oh, never mind. So sorry.
Wait, no more questions, Diego. We have to keep tracking. Yes. So I want to thank you all for a great panel. That's awesome. And guess what, folks? You got the keys to your success. Use them. All right. Great comments, Robert. Appreciate it. So now, folks, I'm going to ask you to go back in time as if you're in the 5th grade, and we're going to release you for lunch only on the promise of getting back here in 5 minutes, because we're going to start our second panel on time, okay? All right. You got to bring it back. Bring it back in here to eat, please. Okay? 5 minutes, and we'll have time to network afterwards. Tracy's leadership has been instrumental in shaping policies that impact everything and everyone, from transportation infrastructure to emergency preparedness, housing access. And under her guidance, BizFed has grown into an influential alliance of more than 240 business organizations representing over 420,000 employers and 5 million jobs across Southern California. Her experience brings a rare ability to bridge diverse interests, from small business owners and developers to public safety officials and regional planners, making her uniquely qualified to lead this conversation on the systems and partnerships that must work together to deliver a safe, inclusive, and well-planned future for our region. Please join me in welcoming our fearless advocate and master connector, Tracy Hernandez.
There we go. We're getting it. I'm going to put my water down. Well, thanks, everyone. Good to see you all and connect with old friends, meet new friends, and make things happen. I appreciate Kevin. He is stalwart in leading important conversations and being what? What's our 3 words? I always like to remind everyone by design. BizFed Institute is intelligent, thank you. Thank you guys for helping me get it right. Here we go, one more time. We are intelligent, we're inclusive, and impactful. That means all of you. That's a descriptor for you today. My honor to do the speed lightning round final panel of the day. You're going to learn a lot from really talented people. We're focusing on the transportation, housing, and public safety in major venues, which is a critical aspect of your opportunities and our ability to deliver all of these major events. So what I'd like to do is call up our panelists. So Conan Cheung is the Chief Operating Officer of LA Metro. Christopher Jackson is the Assistant City Manager of the mighty city of Inglewood. Inglewood in the house. And Jackie Fila is the President of the Hotel Association of Los Angeles. And then Jason Skeen is our Assistant Sheriff of the LA County Sheriff's Department. Jason, I told you we got a powerhouse. And what I'd like to do is also thank all of our generous sponsors that made today happen. So we have Vermont's Lawson Economic Development Corporation. Roberto, where are you at? He was here just a second ago. All right, Foothill Transit, and then the awesome Port of Long Beach. And then, of course, our chair of the BizFed Institute is Rex Knowles with Verizon. And he has like 13 states in the US, and he got held up in the state of Utah today. So he was gonna be with us, but he's there today, and I know he's with us in spirit. So let's get going. What I'd like to do, again, you heard me say lightning round. I know it's hard when you're asked to speak, to do anything in lightning round. So pretend like you're doing public testimony, and pretend like the Board of Supervisors or the LA City Council or the Inglewood City Council has said, we have hundreds of people here, and so I'm gonna hold you to a minute, right? And then you have to organize your thoughts. We do this all day long as advocates. So I'd like you to each take a minute and tell everyone a bit about you and who you are in your role, because you are really impressive folks. And I didn't want to read your bios. I think I always find it interesting to see what tidbit you want to share with everyone. So let's go right down the line.
All right.
Conan.
Thank you, Tracy. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Conan Cheung, Chief Operations Officer at LA Metro. All right, I've lost a couple seconds there. Conan Cheung, Chief Operations Officer, LA Metro. It's a pleasure to be here. When we talk about LA Metro, we're really talking about the bus system, the rail system, but we're also talking about express lanes, bike share, microtransit, van pool, and so forth. So if you eat, shop, play, work, commute within LA, you're probably working on some of our systems. So obviously for this forum here, we're a big part of transporting the spectators and workforce to the various venues for major special events, whether it's the 2026 FIFA World Cup, 27 Super Bowl, or obviously the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And we have started recently with the Club World Cup that's going on right now. The last game is tonight, and we've been working in partnership with Foothill Transit to provide that service.
Christopher.
Chris Jackson, Assistant City Manager, and also still Development Services Director for the City of Inglewood. 17 years with the City of Inglewood. Started out in planning. My background and undergraduate degree is in planning from Cal Poly Pomona. I got a Cal Poly alum over there somewhere. And so my role has changed. Initially overseeing the Development Services Department, which included planning, building, code enforcement, as well as working on all the major initiatives that were happening within the city and impacted by the city. Really just kind of transforming where we're going as a city and creating connective tissues with all of the entities that are around us. So appreciate the opportunity.
Jason. Now you have to include in your 1 minute that you led an important 50-year memorial relay, so include that.
There you go. My name is Jason Skeen. I'm the Assistant Sheriff over our countywide operations. I have a little more than 30 years with the Sheriff's Department. I joined when I was a teenager at 19. I thought it was going to be a college job, and here I am. So I kind of failed a few degrees later. So in part of my day-to-day responsibilities is I oversee all of our court systems, all of our detective division, our special operations division, which includes our SWAT team, our aero fleet, our emergency operations bureau. But then I also oversee all of our countywide services, which is all of our county buildings, all of our parks, some of our special deployments with our homeless outreach and things of that nature. So it kind of covers a plethora of different things. Everything that's not custody or direct patrol related, I oversee for the most part. While I was the chief of staff to the department, I was tasked with overseeing the future planning for LA 28, the World Cup, the Super Bowl, the NBA All-Star Experience. It's all kind of comes into play. So it's been an interesting pathway going forward, and I'm really honored just to be here with you today.
Jackie.
Well, now I feel like an underachiever. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Fila. I'm the president and CEO of the Hotel Association of Los Angeles. We represent hotels throughout Los Angeles County, from the large branded to the small mom and pop. The tourism industry is one of the largest and most important industries in Los Angeles. We employ about 540,000 people in good paying jobs. We are one of the largest taxpayers in the city and the county as well. Just talking about bed tax in the city of Los Angeles, we pay about $300 million annually in that. And for businesses who are not in hotels, we'd love for you to be in them. For every dollar a person coming to visit Los Angeles spends on a hotel reservation, they spend another $2.20 in a surrounding business that is not within the hotel. When it comes to events, you can't actually be awarded a major event like a Super Bowl, the World Cup, the Olympics without what's called a room block agreement, a commitment by the industry to house the people that are going to be coming here. All of the people who are coming as guests, all of the people who are coming as related staff, and particularly for things like the Olympics, we'll be bringing in lots of folks in public safety, lots of transit folks, and we'll be housing them too. So happy to and excited to contribute to this conversation today.
And Miss Underachiever also is a doctor. I should have introduced her as Dr. Jackie Fila. So.
Not like the surgery kind, so not the useful one.
All right, let's jump into it. So a little different than the last panel is I'm just going to ask you each specific questions. We won't do one question, everyone answer, so you don't know where it's coming next, and you're just going to be ready, all right? And we're going to have some fun, and then we'll leave it open. We'll get a few questions in, and we'll end on time. Okay, Conan, I'm going to start at Metro because the title of this is transportation. So here we go. How is LA Metro preparing to manage the expected surge in ridership during World Cup, Super Bowl, Olympics, and what infrastructure or services can riders expect by then?
Thank you. Great question. And in fact, I'll start with the infrastructure. I'm sure all of you have seen that we opened up our LAX Metro Transit Center on June 6th, a couple weeks ago. It's an amazing event. It's a game changer connecting LAWA LAX to our major transit hub and the K line, the Crenshaw line, as well as the C line and the Expo line, the E line. I'm still getting used to the letters, you know. But I mean, basically, that's really one of the starts of what we're building out for the future going up to 2028. We have the A line extending out to Pomona coming up. That's going to be serving some of the major venues out there now that we know that, you know, the venues have changed. And we are obviously extending our subway system, the B and the D line especially out to Westwood and beyond to the VA hospital. So a lot going on as it relates to infrastructure development and building. We're also doing smaller things in terms of trying to improve the speed and reliability of our light rail system as well as our buses. So we're continuing to work on bus lanes, working with the cities and local jurisdictions on signal priority and so forth, and some special track work. Not to get too technical, but that allows us more flexibility in terms of operations. As far as service is concerned, just to put it into context, last September we finally got back to over 1 million boardings a year, which is where we were prior to the pandemic. So we were actually at 1.2 million boardings a year. We have about 2,100 buses in our fleet. The municipal operators, the 17 major ones, including Foothill Transit, also have, you know, a significant fleet when you put it all together. When we look at the Olympics and the Paralympics, we're expecting to carry about 1.2 million people a day. So it's basically doubling our ridership. Obviously, we don't have the capacity on our existing system to provide that service, and we're not connecting to all of the different sites. So we do have to come up with what we call a Games Enhanced Transit System, a GET system. And it's going to be a system of dedicated routes that take you from temporary park and ride lots to the venues, or to our major transfer hubs, or to from other mobility hubs to those locations. We're looking at needing about 2,700 buses. So again, we're doubling the fleet, or more than doubling the fleet. We can't do that alone. So we're going out throughout the country, borrowing, stealing buses from people. So we've gone out and we've talked to a lot of the major transit agencies out there. We have an informal commitment for about 650 buses or so. We're starting our own contingency fleet, so as we get new buses in, we're going to keep our old ones that are still good, put those into a contingency, so hopefully we'll be able to build up to that number. But there are an awful lot of partnerships that we're trying to forge throughout the country to get these buses, get the staffing that we need to be able to operate them, maintain them, supervise the employees and so forth. So we're basically creating a brand new system for the games, the Olympic Games and the Paralympics. With respect to the World Cup, it's going to be also a heavy lift, but not as much so. We're looking at about 330 buses for that system. And just to put it into perspective, last time when we served Super Bowl 56, we carried about 5,000 to 6,000 people to SoFi Stadium. We're expecting to carry about 30,000 for the FIFA World Cup game. So it's about 6 times as much. So that's why we need additional buses and operators to be able to provide that service.
Excellent, Conan. Now you took 3 minutes of your time, so you did 3 questions in my one, but I have a follow-up because obviously it's no small task to ready for double the ridership and double the bus purchase. But out of everything you said, I really want to know, why did we change from color lines to letter lines?
That is a very good question. I don't have a good answer to it. I'm not in the customer experience department. But that does speak to
the green line, the gold line, all that. Now we have to figure out if it's the A or B.
But that does speak to lessons learned, and when we start talking about all these special events and people coming from around the world, we need to make sure that our nomenclature, our signage and wayfinding is consistent and it's readable and understandable by all people who are coming here.
So letters are more understandable than colors?
Yeah, that's my answer.
All right, we're going to go with that. All right, Jackie, you're up next. Obviously, so important on the hotel industry. Thanks for saying yes, because you got your hands full on every front. And you saw right from the get-go when Bill gave the poll, there was a lot of comment and concern around capacity and guest management and ability. So how is the hotel industry preparing for the influx of visitors, of course, during all these events? And for you, what challenge is top of mind? Your list is probably 25 long, but if you could go to the top 1 or 2 issues.
Sure. So from a guest management perspective, I would say this is what hotels do. We're like, the saying, like, this is our Super Bowl. Like, every day is their Super Bowl. Like, they have a global workforce that welcomes a global series of guests who are here from business, leisure, or group events. So that side of it, we're not so worried about. Quite frankly, what ends up being top of mind is going to be that availability and that stock. And it is the regulatory environment that hotels are finding themselves in. One of the, I think, big mischaracterizations about where money is to be made in the Olympics is that hotels are going to charge a fortune and make a fortune. And of all the business opportunities out there, for most hotels, that's simply not true. As I mentioned, part of the agreements to host these events requires what's called a room block, which requires hotels to commit usually 75% of their rooms years in advance to be available, that are well located, that have very, very, very strict price prescriptions to host all of these folks coming in so that we have a place to put them and it's a place that people can afford. Some of these regulatory changes have now put a lot of hotels upside down in these contracts. And so that is our big worry is, we've got these agreements that we want to work, and now we've got to figure out how to rework and make them work. They want to hang on to these global workforces, and tourism is really in a tough spot in Los Angeles right now. So there's that, and then there's the other piece of it that, LA as a county is really under-hoteled, and we want to see more partnerships with our governments that actually help us build up that stock. And right now, the regulatory environment also makes that pretty difficult. So we are looking to partner more, get government more engaged, and sort of helping to grow that tourism industry, because really everybody benefits. And it's going to be really important to the city that we rebound that tourism industry, because we are the largest unrestricted taxpayer in the city, and without that, it's going to be harder to have more money for transit. It's going to be harder to have more money for public safety. So we're really looking at sort of building up that industry now that has suffered just waves of things, from fires to tariffs to raids and unrest, to looking forward to hosting these events.
Jackie, what does it mean that you're the largest unrestricted taxpayer in the county?
Yeah, so no, we are.
People catch my attention on things. I actually listen to what they say.
Well, so hotels generate a bevy of taxes, but one of the things that's unique to hotels is TOT, which you've probably all heard if you pay attention to budgets. Like, TOTs are really, yes, you're shaking your head, but not a lot of people actually know what that stands for or where it comes from. TOT is the tourism occupancy tax, which is generated by folks who come to Los Angeles. It's like the best tax ever because they come here, they give us their tax money. For the most part, they use almost no city services except for Metro. We encourage them to do that. We discourage them from needing your help. We like you, but we don't want that to be a service our guests have. And then they leave. And so everybody who comes into hotels generates that tax. And a lot of the taxes and money that the city and the county get are really formulaic, meaning that they have to go to specific purposes. TOT does not. And so the more TOT that is generated, it gives the city more options to fill budget shortfalls when they have them, but also to pump up public resources that they think needs that additional money. So it's a great question. Thanks for asking. I know taxes aren't sexy, but TOT is a good one.
I will not editorialize on somewhere I was going to go, because I'm going to go to Jason. So, you're in the queue. Paul Krekorian earlier told us that these events the Olympics and Paralympics will be the largest civic gathering in history in the world. Did you all hear him say that? Did I get that right? Okay. So, how are you and the Sheriff's Department engaging with local businesses to ensure they're all informed, prepared for potential disruptions, and of course, safety protocols? Give it to us, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. See, our partners at Inglewood, they already understand having the large venue with the Intuit Stadium as well as SoFi. And we already have a great partnership in many of these fascinating cities. As we well know, this is the largest county in the country. We're the largest sheriff's department in the country. And so we have a history of collaboration. It is important. Hence, I'm here, 3 years out, those types of things. Some of the things that we're directly doing, we're working with LA28 to make sure that the information is consistent that's going out, because as we all know, when we look at the advantages that Paris had, they had 2 national police forces. That was it. I had one person making decision for 2 national police forces. 88 cities in LA County, more than 40 individual police chiefs that run those. We have more than 40 of the contract cities. We serve about 3 million people, 1/3 of the population, almost 2/3 geographically. When you think about those kinds of challenges, let's just take some of the recent protests and all the organizations at the federal, state, and even the local levels. And that communication is extremely important, and messaging. And then you throw LA28, that component of it. They are developing an app that will be available, 1 for the citizens, but 2 for the businesses as well too. They actually have a community engagement team that will be partnered with law enforcement, but also with the development of LA28, and they will be launching that probably later this year in terms of some of that communication that will allow you. Internally within the Sheriff's Department, I have Commander Brian Aguilera that's also here. Brian was with me in Paris. We sent a security team of deputies, including some of our advanced technical teams, like arson explosive details and things like that, just to get that experience. But also I went on the collaboration team so that I could understand how they managed that programming and how they communicated with the public, because their elected officials did, in fact, have some challenges in those coming weeks before, when people started to realize, hey, my street's going to be closed. What's that impact me? We want to be able to clearly communicate with people, and we look at like SoFi. We know within particular zones, businesses will be enveloped within those zones where there'll be no vehicles, right? What does that mean for those businesses if people can't park in their parking lots? So it's going to be that early communication that will help those businesses begin to pre-plan and how we will work together to make sure that they can stay open, but at the same time fall within the security protocols that are going to be established.
I don't want your job.
I'm starting to wonder if I don't want my job either.
Well, thank you for your service. I'm glad you're there. How about cybersecurity? I didn't hear you get into that, and I know that's
massive. It was very interesting. We probably will have more than 30 different command centers, and part of it will be looking at cyber. We looked at the cyber threats that were hitting just between things like London, Rio, Paris. You take in the IBC, which some of you are probably familiar with, which is International Broadcasting Center. Nothing happens without the IBC that will also be located in Inglewood. Just the IBC alone dealt with 1 million cyber attacks a day. You could literally sit in their command center and just watch them, and then they were getting rated on their threat levels. All it takes is for one of those threats to get through, and you shut down the games. You shut down the games, you shut down everything, right? It just doesn't happen. So that's how important those command centers are. We have teams that we partner with already, whether it's Cisco, Microsoft, even for our own systems in place. Imagine the 911 system goes down, right? It's those challenges, and we have those challenges. We have those tabletop exercises quite regularly. We have one scheduled already for next week about consequence management. And some of those do fall into those cyber threats. I'll tell you, our private industry does an amazing job, but at the same time, we're all vulnerable, and we have to recognize those things too.
Okay, Chris, we're going over to you. Supervisor Holly Mitchell earlier, I thought, aptly described a scenario for which you're involved in called a family reunion picnic. And all parts of the family come together, they bring their different salads, they compete, they have the burgers, they're getting along, and then they fight, and then they hold it together because they're in the family. So with Inglewood hosting, obviously I have all the awesome venues that I go to all the time. I give Inglewood all kinds of money because I love SoFi and Intuit,
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Clippers games, you got it all going over there. But with all the investments and the readiness that you have, and also we heard that like just FIFA, you have all 7 games. 8 games. So 8 games of FIFA at Inglewood, and you've competed hard to get all of those to come there. So, talk to us about how do you ensure a seamless experience for all of that?
Yeah, and I think one of the great things that's happened in Inglewood is our history in Inglewood. As many of you know, we had our Hollywood Park racetrack for many, many years. We obviously had what was the historic Forum, where you had the Showtime Lakers and whatnot that went on there. And those kind of set the standard for how you engage visitors that come into the area. And I believe we built upon top of that. One of, I think, the major advantages we have as a city is your friend, Mayor James T. Butts, who is a visionary in his own presentation and what he's been able to do over the years, and really in galvanizing all the leadership team to kind of work together. You talked about communication being such a key element in making sure that we're not bumping into each other. I call it the Keystone Cops. Remember those? They just run into each other, right? And a lot of folks look at municipalities and counties and governmental entities as Keystone Cops. And we've changed that because we've created a collaborative environment where we've been able to really work together with each other, understanding that we all mutually benefit from it. And with that, having leadership that is focused, leadership that is consistent, and leadership that demonstrates the ability to be able to see afar away, have vision. And so one of the things that we have done is in our city is we have been preparing ourselves to do a number of things to make sure that the engagement is really good. The good thing we have is we have kind of like a build-up. So we have the NBA All-Star Game next year. Then we have a FIFA World Cup. Then we have the Olympics in 27, Olympics Super Bowl 61 in 27, and then the Olympics. So we get to ramp up, if you will, to that experience. Nothing is obviously going to totally prepare you for the Olympics and what that means, but we've been working on this for years now. So it's not anything that's happening in a vacuum. So we're looking at messaging. We're working with our partners, both in LA. Mayor Bass has a great relationship with the mayor as well of Inglewood. And so we're trying to get everybody together to make sure that there is some consistent theme and presentation that goes on across the network. So we're excited about what's happening.
You mentioned Mayor Bass, Los Angeles, of course, Mayor Butts, Inglewood. How about Mayor Richardson, Long Beach?
Oh yeah, that's my fraternity brother, so I love him. Got a few fraternity brothers out there and stuff. So yeah, he's really excited. Rex is doing a fantastic job. Obviously, when Santa Monica turned down the ability to do volleyball, they moved it over to Long Beach, and Rex just stepped right up in there. He's also working collaboratively across the aisle to make sure that there's a seamless experience. And I think that's part of the key. When you have the politicians, the electeds who are at the top level, who are able to communicate with each other, understand the dynamics that go on in there and appreciate each other and share, talked about with the sheriff and all of the entities, our Chief Fronterata for the city of Inglewood, working alongside with the sheriff and our other partners in other neighboring cities. We've already kind of created that collaborative environment. So we're, again, excited about the opportunity to kind of move ahead.
Aces. All right, what we're going to do is give you more time for Q&A on this panel. So we're really going live. I told them to be ready to wing it. Now we're going to really do it because we're going to go to you guys. So if we can get the microphones up. I see Ruth Drizendos has her hand up first. So, and then I see Brenda Trainer. So we're going to go Ruth and Brenda when we have help with the mics. I know I called an audible, and now Kevin's, I'm going to be in trouble because I went outside of the game plan. But let's open it up for Q&A. We'll spend the rest, we only have 10 more minutes together, so let's spend that time. Just, you guys are good with that, right? Okay, all right, let's do it. Okay, Ruth, then Brenda, and then whoever's next, we'll go from there.
Hey, Ruth Drizendos with Drizendos Corporate Communications. This would have been a question for the last panel as well. A couple of things have happened since planning started and since the spreadsheets have come out. One, of course, is the state of our international situation, where Los Angeles is certainly a city that is on the list. And then secondly, in terms of people feeling safe to come out to the games, to work at the games, and to participate at the games. So I'm wondering what each area has done, and I know my friend Bill Scott is probably working with you now. So in terms of each area of what we're doing, how that's impacted and what we're doing, because certainly it's not business as usual.
I guess I'll start because you kind of called me out. Yeah, we just sworn in Chief Scott 2 days ago, so he's still coming into work, which is great for us, and he's very excited. But as it relates to safety security on the metro system, we're taking a multi-pronged approach. Number one, we do deploy a lot of different staff, but we try to do it in a multi-pronged care-based way. So we do have law enforcement, we have security, transit security, contract security out there to enforce the laws, enforce code of conduct and whatnot. But we also have homeless outreach teams that go out there, mental health professionals to go and provide support and assistance for people who need it out there. And then we have a very large ambassador program, which has been very successful, that we deployed over the last couple of years. And they're really out there, number one, to help people, explain how to navigate the system, answer questions, but also to be eyes and ears out there on the system. And they're able to see if there are any safety concerns, any cleanliness, maintenance concerns, report them right away so that we can work on that. We couple that, or we pair that with station design interventions. And so we've gone through some of our major stations, Westlake MacArthur Park, always a challenging station. We've gone through and looked top to bottom. What can we do to disincentivize negative behavior, not making an opportunity? So we want to make sure that the stations are available and open for the public who want to use it for transportation, but not a place for people to do drugs, to hang out and loiter, to defecate and all of that stuff. So I won't take too long on that, but we do an awful lot of station intervention, whether it's the lighting, it's closing off, kind of hiding areas. We're putting up taller fare gates. We're starting to roll that out to all of our stations. I even piped in classical music on the loop, which is nice for people who are there for a couple minutes to wait for the train. But if you're listening to the same, whatever symphony or whatever it is over and over and over, it's going to drive you crazy. So, we're just trying a lot of different things to just disincentivize bad behavior and coupling that with our deployment.
Yeah, kind of subliminal messages. Be calm behind Bach and Beethoven. That's really good. I think you kind of hit on all the areas. It really is communication. It is really the messaging that goes out to say that we are there as a city to support how you feel, how you traverse in whatever neighborhood you're going to be traversing in, and then having a presence there. We've been talking about some ambassadors that are going to be out, maybe clothed in a certain way, to give people a feel as they begin to go through our city in particular, that there's eyes on the street, that they feel comfortable. Not only police, because I think sometimes police can send two different messages. It could be you can feel like you're unsafe because there's so many police. And I remember right after 911 when I got out to New York, and I mean there were there was literally police there with machine level guns, and you felt like you're looking around. So trying to create an environment where people feel comfortable, where at the same time you're not feeling militarized in the environment. I'm hoping to that particular question that things will calm down as we get closer to the games. We're in unprecedented times right now, and it's resetting a lot of ways that we're interacting with each other, and what that's gonna look like long term, because we're in 25, so you're talking about 28. And some interesting things happen in the next several years that's going to really tell us what trajectory we're going to be in as a community and how we engage the world. So,
yeah, I got lucky. Some of you may not know, with LA28 and the IOC, one of the first things they did was actually prop up security on the public safety side. So some of you are in the room are probably familiar with an NSSE. An NSSE is a national special security event that are typically only done for inaugurations, Olympics, major world events within our country. And once that is signed by the president and that authorization, which our Olympics was the earliest NSE that's ever been designated in the history of NSSEs, it brings forth the organization and the resources of the federal government into the local community in terms of that. So we stood up our NSSE, which included the FBI, FEMA, Secret Service, LASD, the Sheriff's Department, LAPD, and the CHP, along with our partners at the other major municipalities like Inglewood and Long Beach. And what we're doing is we bring in these protocols, and there's actually more than 23 various subcommittees that are doing things to make sure that transportation is safe, that housing's safe, that we also look at things like I said, consequence management. So we run scenarios through things like intelligence. Our intel unit, both here at the local level, is actually relatively robust and strong. We get intel briefings relatively routinely. I've had two in the last 24 hours just on world events that are affecting us here at the local level. And part of that is making sure that we understand what could happen before it happens. That was extremely successful in Paris. They dealt with various security threats, whether it was cyber or actual physical and terrorist type attacks, in terms of thwarting those events before they occurred. So intelligence is critical to our success. So really we play through various scenarios, and we're scalable within our organizations, and we actually work quite well at the localized level. You're seeing things at the federal and kind of the whole National Guard level. Believe it or not, we have relationships there too. It's just obviously making sure that that communication is working to the best of we can for the both the community and the business community as well too.
I'll just add two quick things. I think to your point, your communications point, LA has a geography problem. We had that problem with the fires, right? The headline that went around the world was City of Ashes, or City of Angels reduced to City of Ashes. And so Patty left, but LA Tourism has made unprecedented investment in advertising Los Angeles. And one of the things we'll always say, it's really important that you guys post, that you guys invite people to come, that are elected to do so. Everybody does so, because the things that are occurring that make news are almost always not positive. And are almost never widespread throughout the city and throughout the county. So that's our challenge. We're meeting that with resources. I would say one of the things that at least the hospitality industry has been pretty proactive with is meeting with the sheriff, meeting with the new police chief for Los Angeles, and really talking through. There are about 7 points of entry that are the largest points of entry for people coming into the Los Angeles area. And yes, lots of them are on their way to Inglewood, and sometimes they don't even know they've made the transition from Los Angeles to Inglewood. And so we've talked to them about really innovative and sort of different approaches to public safety presence in those particular areas, because we know that when people arrive in Los Angeles and they feel safe, they go do more things. They go to your businesses, they spend more money, they have a better impression. And on our little sheet of questions, that was going to be one of the things that we actually hope is permanent, is the opportunity to build those infrastructures in those common ports of entry into Los Angeles. through trial and error with these events that we hope would be permanent, as those will be important tourism investments and investments just in the Los Angeles region in general.
Excellent. We're going to handle two last questions. And so go ahead and let's have two people answer Brenda's question, then we'll get one more question and two others, and that'll give us our time to wrap up. Brenda,
thanks very much.
Yourself,
yes,
course.
I'm Brenda Trainer. I'm here representing Medea Tech Launch, which is an educational organization in the San Gabriel foothills that concentrates on essentially the area of the 210 and 605 to encourage entrepreneurship in technology companies. Therefore, you can tell my interest is very much in the smaller cities. And there are two elephants dancing in the room. It's the city and the county. And yet there are 88 other little people dancing around, not necessarily little, they're medium ones. Okay, I'll give you Long Beach and Pasadena, and I'll give you Inglewood. But there are then all these 85 other dancing little people running around. And I haven't heard, with the exception of Sheriff Skeen, talk about how to coordinate with those other 80-some odd entities and organizations and how we're building them in, how we're pulling in hotel services in the other cities. And obviously Metro works all the time with so many of the other cities. You know, we will learn not to say Gold Line at some point in time. And tomorrow I'm going to test you because I'm going to go from Monrovia to Long Beach on one train on the Blue Line. So we're good to go. But do tell me, how are you addressing pulling in not only the elected officials, but the professional staffs of all of these other cities to coordinate these initiatives?
Yeah, that's a great question. And from a transportation perspective, you're absolutely right. You know, Metro is one of the operators within the region, but there's 17 other major municipal operators. We also fund transportation improvements for all the 88 cities in the county. So, you know, as the money comes in from the sales tax measures, it comes out from us to those various jurisdictions, and then especially with the 17 major municipal operators. As it relates to transportation and coordination, we are coordinating with them. You know, when I talked about the Games Enhanced Transit System, it's really building in their system as well, bringing them into providing some of that service as well before we get into looking at borrowing other buses from other cities and whatnot, and staffing. As it relates to just bringing professionals from the various departments through for the games, the 2028 games, we are hosting regional convening meetings where we're bringing in the local jurisdictions, different parts of their government. We're bringing in the port districts, the airport, tourism, hotel, obviously security and whatnot. So we're trying to be a regional convener to be able to bring everyone together in one space to talk about everything that goes on relative to the Olympics and Paralympics planning.
Yeah, just recently we met at SoFi. We had a number of interested parties from all over our sub-region, the South Bay sub-region, and some of the outside areas from the South Bay. Well, we just sat in at SoFi and talked to each other, talked about what our concerns are, talked about what our issues are, talked about the ways we want to be able to benefit from the activities that we're going to be coming to bear. Not only the short-term activities, everybody's obviously talking about the Olympics, but we were talking about things that are going to happen beyond that, right? I think one of the things that, I mean, we get hyped up over these particular events, and they provide, you know, a great talking points, but at the end of the day, things keep going, and what are we going to do? And I love what you said on the hospitality side. How are we going to take these events and use them as things that are sustainable long term, right? And so I think part of the response to the question is really intentionality, being intentional about the dialogue that needs to occur, because even across the 88 cities, there's commonality, right? There's the things that we all are concerned about. Our mayor always talks about cutting trees, making sure streets are safe, making sure we have safety issues, transportation issues are resolved. Our mayor sits on the LA Metro board and he chaired it for a number of years, where he was kind of imparting some of his vision and some of the things that happen across the region. So I think it is just more of those things. And I think she said something that was very important with regard to, there you are. You moved over there and you went over there. I was like, where? What happened? She left. She asked a question and left. So there you are. Is I know the electeds, you look beyond the electeds, but the electeds set the tone for what we as staff do, right? Without their thumbs up, we don't cross the borders, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that the visions are aligned no matter who's in office, right? That we all are on the same page about that. And I know I've had some pretty intimate conversations with Mayor Bass, obviously with Mayor Butts, about what their visions are. They're going to outlive them, right? And so this is where staff stabilizes itself, because we're in this thing for the long haul. 17 years at the city of Inglewood, I'll probably retire out with 20 or 25 years. So while I've had mayors come and mayors go, and councilmen come and council members come and go, we've been fairly consistent from a staff standpoint. So I think that's what it is. And really at the highest level of leadership, your city manager, your assistant city managers, your directors being on one accord with each other. I think that's one of the things we've been able to do with the city of Inglewood, and we try and share that with our partners.
Okay, Jackie's going to sneak in on this answer for Brenda. Then we're going to do
I
one last
know.
question,
I'm
and the
breaking the
sheriff's going to
rules.
get the one answer, because then we got to wrap. Go ahead.
But I'll just say, when you look at new hotel development, smaller cities outside of the city of Los Angeles have been outpacing. So Burbank built more hotels last year than the city of Los Angeles. So those things are occurring. I would also say, because this is the business group, when you think about these events, so cities are major procurers, but so are hotels. And a lot of hotels are going to have to provide services that they don't typically do. Hotels that don't provide meals are going to have to provide meals. They're going to hire florists. They're going to do all of these things in the hotels. And so I would say there's going to be a lot of those opportunities, and you don't have to be located in the city. And one of the places that I think is primed, and for some of the biggest hotel expansion is going to be Inglewood. So thinking about where hospitality and tourism is expanding, a lot of that is going outside of the city limit. And so I would urge you to take advantage of those opportunities. And also, you don't have to be located next to a hotel to serve a hotel if you're a business. So I would just make that pitch as you're thinking about services you can give governments. The people hosting them are also going to need a lot of stuff and a lot of vendors.
Great. All right, sir, you get the last question.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Greg Doolin, and I'm a second-generation restaurant owner. I own Doolin's Soul Food Restaurant and Catering Company, and I'm proud to say this is our 50th year in business. We started in 1975, and so I got a couple of questions real quick. I was recently at an event where the mayor spoke, and she said that the 2028 Olympics are going to be the carless Olympics. And when she said that, everybody looked at each other and said, what? And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what that plan may look like, if you have an idea of what that's all about, because I can't envision Los Angeles being carless, and that's one thing. And then lastly, I'm just going to sneak this in, if you can just touch on how the homeless issue will be dealt with during that time when we have all these visitors and all these eyes and cameras from around the world looking at our beautiful city. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick and maybe turn over to Jason. Yeah, as far as carless, I think we're going to transit first. We'll call it that. A lot of that has to do with, the security perimeter, right? The security perimeter, because it's an NSSE event, is going to be basically around the entire, every single one of those event venues. And so you're not able to get in to be able to park close to it. And that's why we're creating this GET system, this Games Enhanced Transit system. And the premise of that is really saying that, we know that people are probably going to drive. They may take Uber, Lyft, whatnot, and hopefully, our transit system, or no, they will take our transit system to these major transfer points, and then we will shuttle them over, much like we do with the SoFi Stadium Express and the Dodger Stadium Express and so forth. This is just going to be on a much, much grander scale. So that's what we're planning right now, is to provide those kind of shuttle services, point to point, from various park and ride locations mobility hubs, major transfer centers directly to the various venues. But the issue is that it's not just one game in one location every day. It's multiple games in multiple locations at multiple events during the day at the same venue. So now you're dealing with ingress and egress at the same time. And when you have overlap in those types of events, now you have to double up on the number of parking spaces you need because people didn't leave before the new people came. And then likewise, you need more buses as well. So we're working with LA28 to try to space out as much as possible that schedule so that we can reduce some of that overlap and duplication. And I'll turn it over to you.
Sheriff, close us out.
Yeah.
Solve the homeless problem.
Yeah.
Unsheltered folks in our region.
If I could do that,
Here we
I'd be
go. Let's
retired,
hear
right?
you. Go.
Yeah, I'll just loop in a little bit on the vehicle issue. It is going to be challenging because we are attached to our vehicles here in LA County because we know there's a parking problem, right? It's just intuitive to be attached to our vehicles. It is going to be a challenge even for our own personnel to get to some of these sites and where they're going to park, and they're going to have to get used to being shuttled into their assignments for the day. Some of these venues will empty and refill 4 to 5 times a day. Imagine like Dodger Stadium refilling into it. That's going to be a challenge. We recognize some of that. So LA28 is setting up a VAP system for your vehicle access program, and you'll have a pass if you're one of the authorized vehicles, and a lot of it will be metro-based and things of that nature that allow for people to get to venues very quickly. Some of the things, I've got to be in Paris in 23, and then I was back in Paris in 24, and wow, what a difference during how well it was organized. And we saw that with London as well. I was on the phone with London this morning. You're seeing some of the lessons learned. The IOC has got this down relatively to a T. When it comes to homeless, each city has in fact dealt with it differently. I was, again, watching things in 23 with Paris. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting to what I saw in 24. And they did set up a site about 10 miles outside in which they encouraged the homeless to go to, and they provided resources that were above and beyond their normal, and that's how they kind of dealt with it. I was like, where'd the homeless go? And I found them. But it took me like 20 minutes to get there. That was their prerogative in dealing with it. What we deal with on our side, we recognize that each of our cities deal with it on a different challenge basis. We're now finding and seeing some of the homeless counts starting to go down in some of our cities where there's that engagement. Engagement is really critical for those cities that or have been delayed in engaging. Like I was the captain over in Carson, and we had a 76% decrease in homelessness in my 5 years while I was there, and part of it was the engagement piece of it, right? It's getting those vehicles off the street, allowing kids to go to school, and then, of course, the appearance of the community. But a lot of that doesn't happen if you don't engage them, and we do have the dollars coming in, and now we just need to see the benefits of those dollars. We recognize that that is a challenge on our side. For us, it is about working with our partners, whether it's at LASA or whatever not, just to make sure that we're fully engaged. We have nearly 27 different teams that deal with homeless outreach, and we're partnered with a lot of the collaborative groups, including mental health and so on and so forth. If you do have those issues that start to impact you at your business level, we do have teams that for our areas that we service, and even our partnership communities let us know. We will help to engage those areas prior to the Olympics as well too.
Yeah, and I'll just say, lastly, for Inglewood, I think one of the things that we've done early on in dealing with the unhoused is really spending a little bit more time interacting with them, not seeing them as migratory, because they end up being migratory, which means that if you shoo them away here, they go over there, right? So it'll just move the problem. The problem never goes away. So you have to really engage with them, and that's what we've been able to do. Matter of fact, I think we've probably placed maybe 4 or 5 of our homeless population, which seems low, but with family who didn't know where they were. So those types of things, approaches, other than just trying to believe that you're going to fix that particular problem. On the transportation side, one of the things that we're experiencing right now is as these major events happen in a city like Inglewood, we have a pretty large residential population around our venues. And going through the difficulties of how they migrate during those events. And so we've taken it, we've really paid a lot of attention to a lot of conversation that's coming from our owners and our renters in the area on how they migrate through to your point, how do we create a system where they're easily recognizable so they can get in and out? Because even though you may have a perimeter, people who live in there are in the perimeter. So you have to consider that and what impact that's going to have on transportation movement. So we're looking at all of those things.
Let's give them a round of applause. Tracy, Conan, Chris, Jason, Jackie, thanks for joining us today. Jackie it even stayed longer and as a board meeting. Thanks for toughing it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm responsible for giving you your closing remarks. I think we had a remarkable day today. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. So, you know, when listening to Paul Krekorian, he took a lot of time to go over a lot of detail, if you took notes, but you saw the magnitude of revenue that's going to come into this city. You know, we have chamber representatives here, we have business owners, we have executives of business, and it's really important that you package your business now, that you don't wait. Someone told me that if you're behind in certain areas, you know, of your taxes or whatever, that they can disqualify you. So let's get ready. Let's not allow this time that we spent here today to go to waste. You were given a roadmap with links and addresses and people to contact. Use them. Let's get ready. Let's show up, Los Angeles. That's what this is all about. When Holly Mitchell gave her presentation and she talked about some of the issues, you know, that she's observed, and especially, you know, with small businesses, minority-owned businesses, let's make sure we have full participation along every socioeconomic level, ethnic, gender, it doesn't matter. Let's come to show up, let's win. Because at the end of the day, this is about building muscle memory, right? The things that we're going to do for the next 3 years are going to last us for the next 10 to 20 years. And we got to make sure that we involve our junior executives, our entry-level business workers, even our kids that we're sending to college. Let's make sure we have an intergenerational transfer of knowledge, activities, successes, so that we're around here as a business community for the next 20 years and beyond. The first panel was awesome because, you know, when you listen to what they had to say, not only was there coaching, you know, from the mayor's office on what to do and how to do it, holding ramp accountable, talk around LA 28, all these folks are stakeholders. And we are going to keep pressing to make sure that they do their part to support you doing your part. And we're here to help you. You know, we talked about the Advocacy Academy. There are things that you don't know how to do or that you're unsure about doing. We're going to help you. We're here. And that's why we did this today. And we're going to continue doing it for every year until everything is done. And then we're going to keep going. Because we are Los Angeles. We are the greater LA community. We are rock stars in our own right. We have been. We're going to keep this thing going. We have faith in you. You folks showed up today, and you stayed the whole time. Amazing, right? And so, you know, the things that we're doing as BizFed Institute is a foundation to help make sure that we provide a platform for you to do your work. From infrastructure, you know, things that we do like water resiliency. No one thinks about water until it comes out brown or doesn't come out at all, right? Transportation goods movement. We've done that for years, and we're going to keep doing it. Workforce development. We are totally invested in that. BizFed Institute was the Affinity Hub lead for California Jobs First, of which Kelly LoBianco was on the steering committee, which I chaired. I was the inaugural chair. They trusted us to do that. And we put together the governance structure. We put together the bylaws. We put together the regional plans, part 1 and part 2. Over 100, well, it was a lot larger. It probably ended up about 150 million, but this is a statewide deal. I was up in San Francisco day before yesterday with Kelly, you know, 1-day flight turnaround. We are committed to this thing, and we're committed to you. So when you get your emails from us, like we have the housing and clean energy coming up, come, participate. We need you to share your information and ideas, right? We're going to get a key takeaways coming out of this event with the recording, with some of the presentation decks, and hopefully we'll get permission from everyone. But I really want to thank all the people that are here, the panelists who put up with us for the last X number of months, because people that know me know that I am insane about planning. But when you plan, you get the right people here to give the right information. You just don't get anybody to come. We get people that actually know, people that are making decisions, and they were here today. So please, please, please use this, collaborate. We've got our next event coming up on August 13th. Again, housing and clean energy. After that, you know, we're gonna do another workforce development. We're gonna probably gonna do something on how businesses, what your rights are as a business when it comes to immigration and how to deal with that, right? We're gonna talk about AI. I'm a 30-year guy from IT. College hire for Xerox. I worked for Digital Equipment. We were number 2 to IBM for a million years, Verizon, all that stuff. And then Tracy found me. And now I've been doing public policy and think tank. I left BizFed as a chief development officer, did double duty as that and president of BizFed Institute. Wife thought I was crazy. But this is so fulfilling because we get paid to do work that uplifts our regional economy. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you come from. There's stuff that we talk about that impacts everybody. And when you look around this room, this is Los Angeles. We're here. So I'm going to leave you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you next time.